This is Rais by Gore Williams, and you're watching the Chat with Chaps live show.
Good evening and welcome to the Chat with Chaps live show. I'm your host, Joe Zampa, and as always, it's great to have you with us. Before we get going, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. As you know, everything we make for this channel goes to Cancer Research UK, so you can do your bit simply by liking and subscribing. Big thank you, as always, to our sponsors, Spectrum VR, who you can see at the bottom of our screen there. We really do appreciate their support. Let me introduce our co-hosts for this evening. First up, he's the face that runs the place. It's the one and only Ben Green. How you doing, Ben?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. How are you getting on?
Yeah, looking forward to tonight's show. You?
Yeah, good to be back, mate. After giving you fellas some stick in the chat the other week, I thought I'd better come on and just do it in person now.
That's it. Well, I've got our lovely listeners to give you stick in return now. They've all been set there at the task. Exactly. Good to have you with us, Ben. And next up, he's the legend, the myth, the man who brings the disco to the den. It's the one and only Disco Steve. How you doing, Disco?
Oh, it's music time. Get that groove going, Ed.
Ed's got the bug. Ed's got it. Ed's got it. Yeah. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, really good, Joe. Looking forward to tonight's show. Very special show as well. So, yeah, good to be on with you guys. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff, and good to have you on, mate. And finally, we have our new transfer for the Chat with Chaps team this season. Don't worry, it's not Gary Taylor Fletcher. It's the one and only Ed Castle. How you doing, Ed? You good?
Yeah, all right. Might look a bit like Gary Taylor Fletcher in physicality, but hopefully, performance-wise, it'll be a bit more inspiring than that.
Well, at least you try. At least you try hard anyway, which is good enough.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. Yeah.
Welcome to the Chat with Chaps family, and great to have you with us. First of all, let's go to the chat and see who's with us this evening. So give us 2 seconds. First through the door is Cole Bracey. Evening, hope you're well, Cole. Some lovely tributes there for Kenny, of course. Alex MFC, hope you're well, mate. Anthony Smith, good evening, mate. Johnny Woodworm, good to have you with us. Leslie, good to see you. Jeff, hope you're well, mate. Oscan, good to see you as well. David Miles, hope you're well, mate. Hughesy, good to have you with us. Hope you're well, mate. Dave Turner, here we go. There's a few. Rob Morgan, good to see you there. Dan, good to see you. Andrew Cahill, a lot of love there for Disco, and Chris Brown as well. Evening all, fantastic. That was nice and easy, wasn't it? Brilliant, good stuff. Right, so guys, tonight's agenda is going to be slightly different. So, of course, we will be talking about Millwall news and discussing transfer rumours and all the latest gossip. But we will start by talking about the very sad news, of course, of Kenny Jackett's passing. As you know, Kenny was a massive part of Millwall's recent history, and for so many of us, he gave us our best memories as Millwall fans. So we will start sharing our own thoughts and talk about our fondest memories of Kenny at the time at Millwall, of course. But later on this evening, around about 8 o'clock, hopefully, we'll have Lions legend Steve Morison, who'll be joining us on the live and talk about Kenny and talk about his relationship with Kenny and what he meant to him personally and what he was like as a manager and how Kenny impacts his career. So, of course, in between that, we'll be discussing the Mill stuff. We'll talk about transfers, including a new signing, which was released by TikTok George early this afternoon regarding Jensen Metcalf. And also there's a rumour going around with Carl Joseph as well. So we'll be talking about that also. But before we get to the transfer news, let's start off by talking about Kenny. So obviously, Disco, I'll start with yourself first, mate. I mean, what was your reaction when you heard the news? And, just share some sort of thoughts of your time and as supporting Mill with Kenny as manager. What it means to you?
Look, utter shock, Joe. I know there were rumours that he hadn't been well, but I think I put it in our chat, didn't we? Kenny Jackett was born in 1962. I was born in 1963. So when you hear, a fit, athletic guy like that passing away, it sends shivers down you. You know, you start not only because of the great bloke he was and what he did for us, but on a personal note, you start to think, Christ Almighty, I'm getting a step nearer myself every day. And look, it just puts it into perspective. Look, enjoy every moment you've got while you're here, because you never know what's around the corner. And I don't mean to be too morbid with that, but that's the reality. On the football front, I'll be really honest, because that's what we do on here. I think when he was first appointed, rumoured and then appointed, I think it was at City. Was he doing City Youth or something like that? You know, which, look, no mean feat this day and age. City weren't the force they were then that they are now. I'll be honest, I was slightly uninspired, but I think it would have took a lot for me to be inspired at that time. We were in a bit of a doldrums, weren't we, as a club, and just seemed to be on the road to nowhere. So not sure. And I think he was a little bit of a slow burner at first, but I think it became very quickly aware that he was up for it, you know, and he had a plan. He got the club. He engrossed himself in the Millwall culture, if you like, and slowly but surely developed a team or teams and then a team to give us success. And I don't think I can pay him any bigger tribute than has been paid out by a lot of people online since he's passed away. We wouldn't be where we are now as a club without Kenny Jackett managing us. He's a massive part of our history now. And I think, well, I won't steal, there was a stat mentioned earlier, which I think really rubber stamps that. So, look, gave us some great memories, which we'll go into. But yeah, look, and I think to turn around not being hugely inspired at first to then thinking, yeah, this guy gets it, you know, and this guy is delivering us what he says he's going to deliver. You know, sometimes a bit pragmatic as a manager, but I think it was what was needed. Yeah, look, great. Look, he's in our history now as one of the greats, and I think that's the best tribute I can give him.
Nice one. Cheers, Disco. Thanks very much. And Ben, coming to yourself next, mate. I mean, when you think of Kenny Jackett and his time at Millwall, what's the first sort of memory that comes into your head?
Mate, first and foremost, just want to say, obviously, thoughts and condolences go out to his family. Obviously, we're all in total shock. But, yeah, thoughts and everything go out to them. So I hope they're doing it as good as they can be. For me, mate, I said it in our group chat. For me, my favourite Millwall manager. He brought me my favourite time supporting the club at a time where we were staring down the barrel of League Two, right? We were really struggling when Kenny come on board. But after that, mate, I mean, I was sat there earlier and it was a great pleasure and put a big smile on my face going through his time as manager. And I tried to pick out 4 or 5 games that I remembered. And my list kept going and going and going and going. And that's what I'm going to look back on. And with huge fondness, happiness, and as I say, for me, the best time supporting the club, giving us a promotion, Wembley trips, FA Cup semi-finals, unbelievable games. I pulled out the Charlton 4-4, the 3-0 of beating Palace at home, Jason Punch and hat-trick, the playoff games against Huddersfield. The list, honestly, mate, it just went on and on and on. One always that sticks with me, the Colchester away game where they gave us half the ground. I think Morrow even scored in that game. Unbelievable. Honestly, mate, as I said, I was just going through all the games, the rivalries with Leeds, Southampton, Charlton at the time. It was just the best time supporting the club. And as Disco said, he is a huge, huge part in where we are now. But for me, looking back, and probably a lot of people in their mid to late 30s, probably their favourite manager. He certainly is for me. And then you look at the likes of the players that he brought in, mate. Morrow, Tony Craig, Fordy, Jimmy, James Henry, Tammy McCandle. Like, again, the list goes on with the players. So, for me, my favourite manager. I was very, very emotional for a couple of days. I'm not going to lie. Certainly seeing the videos that went out in for his respect and obviously his passing. But yeah, huge shock. And will always be my favourite Millwall manager, I think.
Yeah, nice words there, Ben. Cheers for that, mate. And then Ed, coming to yourself, mate, just to get your thoughts, obviously on Kenny's passing, and what do you mean to you as a manager for Millwall?
Yeah, just really sad news when it come through. I was thinking earlier, we can sit round as a 4, or people can leave comments, and you can all pick your favourite 11, your best 11. We can argue the toss about who starts where, who plays where, but there's no doubt in Kenny Jackett is one of the best managers his club's ever had, and there's no argument about that. And, like just to echo what everyone else has said, Ben, the kind of players that came through during his time, just from a really, if you let me divulge slightly, just from a really personal perspective, that season, the 08-09 season, the season we got the Leeds playoffs, my mum passed away the week before those playoffs. She'd been ill, but she passed away. But I went to those playoff games, the Leeds game, the Scunthorpe game, and obviously devastating on more than one front. But obviously we go to football to, forget real life and those things, and the release, exactly. So, to go there the following season and beat Swindon, obviously that was such an outpouring of relief, emotion, because it's the same, time of year. So I've got a real affinity with Jackett and that squad. So yeah, just really sad. And I think you can tell the kind of bloke he was as well, because not just us, but every club he's been at, the kind of messages and condolences from, obviously he's a one club man, wasn't he, at Watford? But the things, other clubs releasing statements, Portsmouth, Wolves, Swansea, everywhere he's been. So it's kind of a mark of the man, really, what he was like.
Lovely words, and obviously, sorry about your mother, of course, and it just shows you how all these memories and all these things happen in the past. You just kind of lead yourself to kind of think about these times and what it meant to you, didn't it? So, but no, great words from all of you guys. And Disco,
how about you, Joe? What's your thoughts?
I mean, one thing that stood out for me was the fact that he kind of put that Millwallness back into our team again, didn't he? I think he kind of got the fans back on board again. There was a period of time when we were on a downturn. We were struggling. There was problems with financial problems, stuff like that. And obviously he come in and put the pride back in, and made the players wear the shirt with pride. And the signings he made, like you guys said, they're all kind of Mill type players who fought for each other. They may not have been the best technically, but they knew what it meant to play for Millwall. And I think that was the turning point. I think that's why we did so well immediately after him taking over. And of course, we didn't quite do it the first season, but the second season we got promoted, had a real good finish, ninth, I think it was, in the championship the following season. And I think that's what Kenny did for us. And also, it's amazing. He spent 6 years with us. And I think he took us to a point where he felt he couldn't take us much further. And I think it's very honest of him to sort of say, listen, I've done all I can. I need to step away now and give the opportunity to someone else to take over and let them take this team further, and it's very big and honest of him to sort of do that. But he got us. He got the fans, 100%. The fans loved him. And I think he was a big part. So that was my question to you, sorry, Disco, is, how do you feel he made that transition? We talk about wearing the shirt of pride and, the collective with the fans. What was it? Was it the mentality? Was it the style of football? What changed, do you think, in that era that made us almost fall in love with Kenny Jackett and take him to our hearts?
Yeah, good question, that, Joe. Before I do go on to that, just very quickly on the back of what Ben and Ed said there, don't forget as well, those were the days of the manager would have made the decision on player signings as well, So
not a head coach like it's today, exactly,
Yeah, so he picked out some crackers. And there's the one I forgot about there, Ben Punchin, getting him on loan. I remember they said he was very instrumental in that, wasn't he, in getting him in, so,
Just to make like of it, this guy as well, just to try and put a smile on people's faces. When I did search Kenny Jackett's most notable signings, AI chucked out all the ones that I mentioned, plus the likes of Jay Simpson, Danny Ngesson, and Thierry Racon. So
one out of three ain't bad, is it?
I thought, I better not mention those ones.
Yeah, he was good, but not a miracle worker.
Hey, nobody's perfect, as we're probably going to come on to at the current days. But look, he had his fair share of really good signings in there, so he had a good football brain. So going to your question, Joe, I think very simply, Ed mentioned it, one club man. I think so. He was obviously very loyal in his approach, just naturally, professionally and personally. So I think he brought that into management, and I think that means a lot of Millwall, doesn't it? That you're loyal to the club and the badge and what have you. As a player, I don't think he was all flair, was he? You know, he was very tenacious, hardworking. You know, a bit of a water carrier, if you like, got the job done. So I think it just encapsulated what he was as a player and a person. He brought to management, and he must. I've no doubt he adapted and sussed out that I need to do this and I need to do that to really make it work here. But I do also think a lot of his attributes would have been ingrained in him that gave him a perfect link to what we're about as a club. And I think very much so as well. There's huge rumours John Belson chased him for a while, didn't he? Had to really convince him to join us.
Yeah. I heard he even turned John Belson down, didn't he, initially, the first attempt? Yeah. And they got back into him again, didn't they? And eventually
So John obviously saw in him what he needed and wanted for the club. And he was right, wasn't he? You know, and no doubt Jackett saw that as well and thought, Christ, this guy really wants me. Let's be honest, we're all, you know, employees of companies or have been in our careers. And when somebody really wants you and rates you, you know, that makes you up your game, sort of thing. So I think it was simple as that, Joe. I just think he was naturally that kind of guy and manager, and then adapted it as he, you know, got his feet under the table more with the club. And it was actually a really good partnership or marriage made in heaven, wasn't it? Sort of thing. That sort of alike. And you say that 6 years, you wonder, flip it on its head to the modern day, if he'd got to that 6 years and we had this model now saying, Kenny, we're going to start giving you some money to go and spend and develop and what have you. I'm not sure he would have gone, and maybe he'd have been even more successful. I'm very confident he would have been, actually.
No, very good point. Very good point. And Ben, to come back to yourself again, mate. I mean, the point I'm really trying to sort of touch on, I hope you might be able to answer this one for me, is what was it that made you feel that the team was so connected to the fans? Because I do feel before that there was a real disconnection between the fans and the players, and there wasn't a lot of love there, you know, but he seemed to generate this kind of passion, you know, and I think he talked about in many of his interviews about how the Millwall fans, okay, we might only have 10,000 fans in the stadium, but they made it feel like it was 50,000 in there. And the fans were definitely on side, weren't they? But what did he do you feel, that made or encouraged the fans to kind of, you know, come out and support the boys as they did?
I think everything, mate, really. The way that we played, I think we were full of hard-working, grafting players, but who had technical ability. And again, I look back on that list that I mentioned, James Henry, incredibly talented going forward, but worked hard. Trotter, to some extent, was quite lazy, I think, when we first signed him, but he very quickly worked out that he needed to put a shift in, and he changed his style, really. Morrow, again, wasn't the best technically, but by the end of his career with us, just knew what it meant to play for Millwall. And I think that, mate, I think when you have that relationship between a manager and the players then with the fans, it's a full circle then, and it feeds back into the manager. The manager knew what it meant for a Millwall player, or what a player needed to have in attributes to play for us, and then that transcended back, and that then worked in our play style. As I said at the time, I remember us being relatively direct wingers, two hard-working midfielders, two sort of 4-4-2, modern day fullbacks, if you like, not necessarily wing back. Obviously, we had Tony Craig playing out there, left back, or Scott Barron type players, Alan Dunn. So they did a bit of everything, in my opinion. As I say, I'm probably doing a lot of them a disservice there to say they weren't the best technically, but they had. Kenny Jackett brought together a squad of players that had everything, and I think that was a time, like we said, when we were struggling as a club, we needed, but everyone that he then did bring in knew what it meant to play for the club. And I think that just brought everyone together. Obviously, then results transpired. So you're naturally going to back the players and the manager at that point, aren't you? But I think, as Disco said, a very good point, that when he was in charge, it wouldn't have been a director of football. He would have had a lot of say on a lot of the players that were brought in, right? And what an unbelievable job. I said that list that I wrote out earlier, it probably could have kept going. Danny Schofield, another one that I probably mentioned. Was
that Andy Frampton in that as well, that list?
Yeah, he would have been in there. Yeah, all those sorts of players. Darren Ward, he brought back, didn't he? I mentioned Trotter that I missed earlier. So honestly, the list went on, and I said that group
real
of players,
transformation, wasn't it? Yeah.
Unbelievable, yeah, really unbelievable. So yeah, I think all of that, mate. As I say, I think he knew what it meant to play for Millwall. I think he signed the right players, the right characters, but players with ultimately who had a lot of quality as well. And yeah, as I said earlier, fucking 2 playoff finals, an FA Cup semi-final, don't read too bad, does it?
No, very much so. And that was the answer I was looking for, Ben, in all honesty. That connection, I think it was a concoction of all those things. I think the playing style, the personnel he brought in, and that was it. It's almost like stripping back down to basics. In some ways, it's almost like what Harris did when he took over after Joe Edwards, when we needed that, to get our identity back again. I think Neil Harris probably learnt that a little bit from what Jackett did last time round. And
sorry to come back in on that, Joe, as well. You look at the players, actually, Tony Craig, we had him on loan, didn't we, from Palace first. So he would have known about TC. Then we signed him. Trotter, another one. We had him on loan first. Then we signed him. And there was quite a few players like that. James Henry, he was on loan. Then we signed him. So again, I do think recruitment and bringing all those players together. Marvin Elliott, David's just said in the chat as well, like Danny Sender, great player. I think the recruitment was unbelievable through his tenure. I know we chucked him, we had a bit of a laugh. There was obviously a few
and on a budget, on a budget. I mean, it was a real budget back in those days. I mean, nowadays we're talking about players signed for £5 million at the moment, which is unheard of.
And again, mate, a lot of those players we went through were loans, and we signed them at the end of that on a free transfer. Or Jimmy, again, probably the best free transfer or one of in the club's history. Do you know what I mean? So very much on a shoestring budget then.
Yeah, good stuff. Cheers, Ben. And Ed, just coming to yourself, mate. I mean, what legacy do you feel Kenny sort of leaves with us? Obviously, a lot of fans really kind of emotional, quite heartfelt by the news, and that says a lot about him as a person. What he did for us, as a manager for our club. But what legacy do you think he leaves behind when we look back on him?
Well, I said at the top, I think he undoubtedly goes down as one of the best managers we've had. I think what I've always liked about Kenny Jackett was which I kind of see a few similarities in Alex Neil to some extent. He's quite measured. He was always measured. He wasn't a baller.
I agree.
Well, outwardly at least. I mean, Morrow's coming on later, so he might be able to tell us, on the training ground or behind the scenes. But I think because as a fan base, we know what we are. So I think sometimes having that kind of almost like yin and yang, you don't need we've tried it with the idiot Holloway, didn't we? And look how that turned out with someone who's supposedly a character or a big,
personality or whatever. Yeah.
But he didn't come across as that, Kenny Jackett. But as I say, he was very measured and erudite and just kind of statesman-like almost. It's maybe a bit of a big term to describe him as, but you get the idea. But yeah, just as I said, it's the fact that so much outpouring of condolence about him sort of says it all, really. There'll be plenty of managers, or there probably has been managers in the past who have passed away, and you might sort of be, it's a shame, condolences. But the amount of sort of grief and outpouring for Kenny Jackett, I think, speaks for itself.
Very, very much so. Cheers, guys. Really, really appreciate it. And guys, in the chat, I'd like to get you involved. I want to ask you, what was your favourite Kenny Jackett moment? If there's one moment, put it in the chat. I'd like to hear what your favourite moment is. I'm going to ask you guys the same question. But before I do that, before I move on, I just want to give a quick mention to Phil Clark, who kindly set up a donation page where fans can contribute towards flowers for Kenny Jackett. And basically, it's a QR code. So I'm going to put it up on the screen now, guys. And if you'll get your phones out, you can see that. If you put your phone, put it on camera mode, and put it at the screen on the QR code, it should bring up a link for you. Now, you might see Lions Food Hub at the top. This is because the QR code was originally set up for the charity football match that Phil organised. But don't worry, all the money we get and raise will go directly to the Kenny Jackett funds. So some of the money will be used to buy some flowers for Kenny, and the rest will go to his family, who can then decide which charity they'd like the money to go to. So, guys, even if it's just a few quid, you can remain anonymous on there as well. So you don't have to give your name out if you don't want to. But I'm sure every donation will be massively appreciated. So if you could do that for us. Apologies if you're watching this back on Spotify or Apple. This is only on YouTube if you look on the video, but a QR code there if you want to take that down. So appreciate that, guys. And Disco, start with yourself, mate. What would you say is your one favourite Kenny Jackett memory? If you pick between the many things we discussed, what's one that sticks out for you the most?
Yeah, it is a really tough one, and I'm going to go a little bit left wing rather than some of the obvious that there are. But I'm going to go 3, but they're all interlinked, if you like. And the interlink is it's all to do with an orange kit. Remember the orange kit that we used to have under KJ? And 3 very quick ones. Last minute winner at Leicester, Alan Dunn banged it in because me and my mate Jeff, who's on here, were actually in the Leicester end. I'd got corporate tickets through Walker's Crisps, and you just can't stop yourself from jumping up, can you, and celebrating? I hate if fans do that. Luckily, it wasn't a busy stand; it was a midweek, and we just couldn't resist. We were up, and everybody looked round, so we just sat down again. But that was magic. But then, probably even better than that, were 2 at the same ground, same kit. And a team that at the minute absolutely are the bane of our lives, Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers away. Danny Shitu, 1-0 in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, right in front of us. Absolutely fantastic night that was. Yeah. And of course, now that you talk about signings, Chris Wood. And I think it was James Emery got the other cracking goal in a 2-0 win. Must have been in the league, I presume, that one. And they were in the orange kit again, I'm sure. So I know I've been cheeky there, 3, but they were great memories of away games in the orange kit and real Kenny Jackett performances.
Good stuff. Cheers, that Disco. Guys in the chat, again, get your favourite Kenny Jackett memory. Ben, how about yourself?
Well, if Disco's having 3, I'm having 3.
At least some for Ed.
I mean, I reeled them off early, didn't I? Some of the ones that I went through.
What's the biggest ones for you? If you were to pick,
do you know what? And everyone's going to laugh at this, and it based on what Ed said earlier. But my favourite game of all time following Millwall is the Scunthorpe game, and I'll add context to it. First time of us being at the new Wembley, record amount of fans, the weather was unbelievable. The Gary Alexander, well, the 2 goals, the best 5 minutes in my life. Sorry to my little one, genuinely was. The scenes at half time, me and my dad had unbelievable seats. He was there with one of his very good friends who's now sadly passed away. It was unbelievable. It was just a great day. So that, without doubt, is number 1. I'm going to go with the playoff semi-final because we went there on the blue bus. My dad's got a very good mate of his who's a Wigan fan. We met up with him before the game. And then obviously the interesting events inside the ground. I actually got interviewed by Fenners at half-time, believe it or not. And then I will say the Colchester away one where we had half the stadium. But again, there's a little bit of context to it. Me and my dad drove there and we went to the old ground. So we had to run up the A road and we're about 15 minutes late getting into the ground. And because it was absolutely packed. We were stood in the gangway for a long time.
Hang on, your old man's a cabbie, and he went to the wrong location.
Yeah, we went to the old ground. But yeah, don't ask us about that. Yeah, we were late, and I think the whole hoo-ha around that. 'Cause I think Colchester was struggling at the time, weren't they? And they were like their fans kicked up a massive fuss about the fact they'd given us half the stadium. But just a game that always sticks out. Having about 6,000-7,000 of us there, it was unbelievable. So they'll be my 3.
Good stuff. Cheers, Ben. How about yourself, Ed?
I won't be as greedy. I'll just pick 2. But the 2 I'll pick were consecutive games. It was that season after we got promoted. So that first game away at Bristol City, which I think is not only mine, but several people's favourite away games, arguably ever, certainly in recent sort of time. I remember that traffic was terrible. Managed to park up, ran into the stadium for the start of the game. Obviously, David James getting stick throughout because that was his England, wouldn't say heyday, but the time when he was getting all the stick for England, 3-0. And then the week later was Hull at home, 4-0. I was like, we're not going to lose another game. We're absolutely flying. So those 2 games, that was just peak, like Jackett peak. That first Navy kit. I know people kick up a stink now about the colour of our kit these days, but I think we just transitioned into that Navy CYC kit, and And I think those two stick in my mind as really good days.
Brilliant.
Good
choices. Good choices, guys. Thanks for that. So look, we're going to move on.
I'm going
to go nice and easy. I'm going to go Leeds away. Jimmy Abdu scoring. That was just that period. Those sort of 2 or 3 years. The rivalry of Leeds, home and away, league games. The atmosphere at the Den was like incredible. And it just made you feel proud. To be a Millwall fan again, didn't it? So obviously there's loads, but that's the one that sticks out for me. Right, we're going to move forward, guys, and we're going to talk about the old transfer news now. So there has been some transfer news and rumours being reported. So there is one that our very own TikTok George released and announced today. I'm going to get that up on the screen in a second. Just bear me one moment. There you go. So George Cole mentioned earlier today, he said Mill set to announce signing of Bradford City midfielder Jensen Metcalf, 21 years old, was nominated for League One Player of the Season. This is for the EFL, I believe. Played 41 times last campaign, scored twice. Strong, technically strong, fits the model, as in buy, develop, sell on, that sort of thing. Young guy. Great sort of player. I think he won Young Player of the Year at Bradford as well, didn't he? Nominated by the fans, which is a massive.
Won 3 awards, Joe.
Did he 3 awards? Well, there you go, and he won that in his first season. So it just shows you what sort of player is. There is a YouTube clip which I found online, which I'm going to play for you now. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to just try and bring this up on the screen for you. Just 2 secs. Right, hang on. Right. Okay, I don't know if you could see this, guys. Where are we?
You're quicker with your own one, Joe.
I know.
Weird, that, isn't it?
Right, here we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
They're
Right.
World Cup for it. We're World Cup for it.
Metcalf on debut with the assist. Out towards Metcalf. He calls it out. It's a beauty! What a goal. That's the kind of goal you need to break the deadlock. Jensen Metcalf with his first for the football club. And it's a stunner. Metcalf, get in. First time! Brilliant! He's done it again! Another moment of quality from this young man.
I've seen enough for winning the league.
HMS Crystal League, I think, isn't it?
I tell you what, I like this kid. I've seen lots of stuff. I've done loads of research on him today. Apparently, when he was at Everton's academy, he comes. Oh,
What?
sorry, I got a bit of a problem with my mic there. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened there.
Oh, he's had enough.
No, he's gone.
Having
Likes
a
him
mare.
that much, he's left. Should we just talk amongst ourselves for a
Yeah,
minute?
let's
Joe?
talk amongst
Can you hear you,
ourselves.
Joe? Can you hear us?
God,
No?
Oh,
can you see me?
Yes.
yeah, we
We
can
got
see
you.
that.
you.
Right, stop talking. We'll carry on talking. Disco, thoughts on Metcalf, mate? I don't know if you've seen much of him. I know your boy's a Bolton fan. What's his opinion been?
Look, I'll be honest, I don't know until I heard his name today was the first I'd even heard of him. And I did watch the semi-finals against Bradford with Bolton. So I had my eye more on who's the older bloody midfielder who was running the show for Bradford. I can't think of his name, but they've got Sarkic up front and another fella in the middle I thought was very good. Used to play for Wigan. Oh, funny name, like anyway. So I didn't notice him, Joe, Ben, I have to say. But look, people have said to me today, bloody hell, a lot of money, it sounds like, and who is he? He's only young and what have you. Look, it's one of them. You've got to trust the judgment of the scouting system and the recruitment team who have done pretty well so far with the youngsters coming through. Love that when I hear he's been highly rated by their fans and awarded prizes and league prizes. So he's obviously got something about him. Sounds like he's come through the Everton Academy, has he then?
Yeah,
is that the link?
That
won't be a bad thing. Is he a Scouser? Do we know?
No, I bought in Wigan, I think, when I saw earlier.
Right, so a Northwest lad.
Although Wigan's not a million miles away, is it?
No,
Liverpool, Manchester.
Bit of feeder club for him. But look, in terms of his son, Ben, I'm glad to say I did text him earlier and said, what do you think? And he's a bit of a font of knowledge on League One, my son. And he said, to be fair, he's very highly rated. Very highly rated. So,
well, just on that, so obviously he was nominated for EFL Young Player of the Year. As I said, he won Bingley Bantam's Player of the Year. I'm assuming that's just their Player of the Year. Yeah. Supporters Trust Young Player of the Year and Shipley Bantam's Most Consistent Away Performer. So 3 prestigious prizes there from Bradford anyway.
Yeah.
Joe, are you back? Are you picking up the
Yes,
help?
I'm back. I don't know what happened there. There's a problem with YouTube. I was sharing the YouTube. I kept getting a back feed on my headphones. So apologies about that. But cheers for sorting out, though, Ben. But I was just about to say, obviously, come through Everton Academy. What I like about him is he captained every year group from like young age, from like under 8s or 9s, right through to under 15s, 16s, which just shows you that he's a bit of a leader. And I've watched some of his videos and interviews, and he's what you call an old head on young shoulders. Very, very mature, very switched on. He's got a strong mentality, and 21 years of age, he's ahead of his years. And a bit like what Disco said, when you see a player leave and you look back at reports and what fans were saying about him, a lot of the fans, especially the Everton fans, were sad to see him go because they've seen him as someone who's going to break through and against the first team. And they said, look, we will see this guy back again. He will make the big time. He'll be in the Premier League. And of course, goes to Bradford. Fans love him. His first season, he wins Young Player of the Year award, scores a couple of decent goals, played 40-odd games for them. This kid is the real deal. Yes, you could argue he's playing a league below, but I think he's got the potential to step up and play at a higher league. And if we get a couple of good years out of him, and whether we go to the Premier League or not, I think there's definitely going to be some sell-on value there with him because I think he's going to progress and do very well. Just want to ask you, Ed, can you see the logic maybe of where the club are not necessarily fighting tooth and nail to keep Billy Mitchell if they've got this guy in their mind? They might have had this guy on the radar months ago, and I believe that might have been the case. You got Del Boy, you got Casper, you got him as well, and one or two others. Could that provide the competition that Mill needed? Hence the reason why Mill are not too worried or not fighting too hard to keep Billy. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Potentially, I guess it's interesting that in amongst all the, it's silly season now, isn't it? Transfers are starting to come through. You're always getting rumours. And again, it reminds me a bit of like when we saw Negley, and I think even Fleming, it's like, I don't think anyone's mentioned Jensen Metcalf, have they? Like he's been kept under wraps quite well. So, amongst all the names and rumours of this player, that player, and someone from the first division in France or whatever, and all of a sudden this kid's joined sort of seemingly out of nowhere, but like you said, that he's probably been on the radar for some time, and this is the model, isn't it? His age, was he 21? He's got a higher ceiling potentially. Fit that mold. I think he's 6 foot. Obviously he's athletic, and like you said, perhaps I think I even mentioned it the other night about the Billy Mitchell situation. That seems to have just been dragged out for quite some time, and this, I think that's only pointing in one direction. I think in that respect, this signing
definitely fits the model, doesn't it, Ed? Which is good to Good to see. Ben, to get your thoughts on him. I know there was a few comments, weren't there, on George's TikTok earlier today, which I think you've got some kind of comments about yourself.
He's trying to roll me up, mate. Well, I'll get the negative out of the way first. For the people that are moaning, give your heads a wobble. He's a 21-year-old lad who's played 41 games for a playoff side in the league below, won 3 awards, nominated for a full league award in the Young Player of League One. So, yeah, if you're moaning, just give your head a little bit of a wobble. That's the negative out of the way. Positive, I'm very excited, mate. As we keep saying, fits the model, 21. Soccer AM saying, great age. He looks like he's got a lot of potential, come from a great youth academy. As I said, played a lot of games last year for Bradford, scored 2 great goals that you mentioned. So, for me, yeah, very, very exciting. Disco, you mentioned the fee. I haven't seen what that potentially is. Do you know what's been bandied about? Or
I thought I saw on something 7-figure fee, and Everton have got a 30-40% sell-on clause with Bradford.
Right, okay.
Apparently. I don't know where I saw that, but that was on somebody's mention.
I mean, that still could be what could be £1 million, couldn't it? So,
yeah.
I mean, in this day and age, not a huge amount, is it? If it is in and around that, but yeah, mate. Look, there's no negatives in this signing for me. Sadly, though, I'm in total agreement with Ed. It points to one thing with Billy Mitchell. I'm a huge Billy Mitchell fan, but if the rumours are to be believed, what is it, 2-3 offers that have gone in and he's knocked them all back? Yeah, I don't see a world in which Billy stays now, not with the emergence of Del Boy, the back end of last year, this young lad. Dan Kelly, maybe. I'm still not convinced with him, but you start to look at it and we've got players in and around that position now. Again, I'm with Ed. I would have thought this has been on the radar for a long time, knowing that we've gone in with offers with Billy, he's knocked them back, and we've got this done very, very early to probably stop other clubs sniffing around. So I'd imagine this has been in the pipeline for a while. Just one question to everyone. On that, when was the last time we signed a player we were rumoured to be in for? I'd be interested to get anyone's opinion, because I can't remember. If we're rumoured to be in for him, normally it doesn't happen. So that makes me think with the Joseph thing, it's a load of bollocks. We're very good at keeping it under wraps, is my point. Normally, if it gets out there, we're not actually interested in them.
I agree.
I'm trying to think, there must be a few,
Watson,
though.
I know more loans. Watson, we were rumoured for a while, weren't we? Bannon was rumoured. There was another one I was thinking. No, they were not huge. They were. Well, Bannon was bought, wasn't he? But I know what you mean, Ben. We do our business very much under the radar. And it frustrates us all, but it's a bloody good way to do your business as well.
But you have to be. You have, especially when you compete against these big clubs with big budgets and often
you would have thought wages. With this lad, Joe, that if people knew he was available for, say, it is £1 million, we don't know. I'm just arguing there because of the figure. There'd been a lot of clubs that would have taken a punt on him. If they knew that he was
I guess, right? if you put yourself in Jensen Metcalf's position, you're looking at Millwall that have got this proven model where they sign young players, develop them, and they don't stand in the way. They say, look, the money's right, we'll allow you to leave. They did it with SA, they did it with Fleming. It looks like the same's going to happen with Aziz, maybe Ivanovic one day as well, who knows? So I guess he's not silly either. He's seen this as an opportunity, a platform, a bigger stage to show what he can do, test himself at a higher level, and then you're just one more step in the Premier League, isn't you? That's where it's life-changing with regards to money. One thing that does concern me a little bit, sorry, Disco, I don't know whether you heard this at all, Disco, as well, is he did have an ACL injury before he joined Bradford, and it was treated by the Everton. It was treated by the Everton medical staff. Now, let's be honest, he's gone 40 odd games, consecutively with Bradford. Hasn't bothered him at all. Could that be a slight sort of negative in a sense that we don't need any more players carrying injuries?
Just circle that on the calendar.
It can be, Joe, if you want it to be a slight
good
negative.
answer.
No, look. Funny enough, Jeff mentioned that earlier. One of the first texts he sent me back was saying we do love an injury-prone player. But I think Ben's nailed it on the head there. 41 games last season. That tells you where he's all right. In a robust league. Let's be honest. We talk about the Championship being hard. League One is bloody tough. So no, Are we dispelling the debate now? Because I wanted to, if it was mentioned tonight. He's not a project. He's coming in to play.
Well, I was going to add, actually, that just to temper well, I don't know if you can ever temper expectations at Millwall, but we're notoriously patient with young new players. So if he does come in and doesn't hit the ground running, I think we might have to give him a little bit of leeway. He's stepping up. Obviously, the club think he's capable of doing that, but as we saw with, Negley, Aziz, they all took a little bit of time to warm up to the division and sort of get up and running. So, who knows? He might come in and absolutely run the show, but you've got to try and be sort of a little bit patient.
What's your view, Ed? Is he squad or starter? Do you think he's been brought in as a...
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, I really don't know, if I'm honest. I suppose that's a really good question. The model, I guess he comes in, maybe it does hinge on, does Billy go? Does that then become, I don't know, does that then become Metcalfe and Denora? Does that become your sort of midfield
pairing?
Pairing?
I guess a lot
Eric
Yeah, I guess, Ed, a lot of that stems, on the player, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure when Bradford signed him as an academy player, youth player from Everton, there wasn't a question, all right, you're going to go in and you're going to play every game for us. The idea is you're going to get the opportunity. If you take the opportunity, great. If you don't, you're one for the future. And I think that would be the same with Millwall as well. We're going to bring him in. He's a youngster. He's done it in League One. You're 21 years of age. You'll get the opportunity. If you grab the opportunity, then guess what? You're going to be playing most games. If you're not a problem. We'll keep you playing for the under 21s. We'll, play you when we need you. We'll get you out on loan if we have to, But I think a lot of that stems from the play. But what I love again is mentally, this player's on it. The fact he showed that attitude. The fact he's been captaining all those teams at Everton as a youngster coming through. Shows a natural leader. He comes into Bradford, boom, straight away, young player of the year. He's got that attitude, which I really do love. And the interviews he talks, he doesn't talk about him, how great he is. All he talks about is the team. All about the team. He's so mature. He's so media trained for his age, which makes me realise that this kid, he's got one thing in his mind, that's to get to the top. And nothing's going to stop in his way. So another player I want to talk about, guys, and it's the rumour going around, it's Carl Joseph from Hull City. So with a £5 million figure being mentioned. Now, this was mentioned on lots of social media. I think there was one, if I can get up on the screen, from Hull City News. I think they've got about 15,000 followers. So I'm sure there's got to be some sort of truth in that as well. And we understand as well that the player himself, his father is a Millwall fan as well. So he's got an affiliation with Millwall. I don't think Hull City particularly want to sell him Disco, but I don't know if this is right or right. I read some report there that due to some kind of financial fair play thing, they have to raise a certain amount of money and generate this money first before they're going to the Premier League and start whatever. So this £5 million will go a long way to sort of helping them that and solving that. And I think they're not silly as well. They probably realise, as good as Carl Joseph is, Disco, maybe he's not quite good enough for the Premier League just yet. But 24 years of age, what would you make of that signing if that signing was to happen, Disco?
Well, when I first heard it, Joe, I was very, very excited, for want of a better word. I've always liked the look of him as a player. Obviously, he ran us ragged at our place. Thought he's looked good when he's played against us at their place and in the second leg. Rob Morgan has just put a damp squib on it saying John Kelly said
I saw that, yeah.
Truth in it. So you're right again, Ben, as soon as we're rumoured that's out. But
again, that could be Millwall telling him, look,
yes,
put that out there, just throw the scent off a little bit, as Ben said, we want to do things under the radar, don't we,
I think for me, fits all the criteria, still young, 24, great attributes as a player and attitude, it looks like. Heard people in comments saying, when he played, I think you might have said it, Ed, actually on one of the, was it you said on a pod that, really hated him and when he played against us, was it mentioned on?
I don't think it was me, but
sorry, mate. Yeah. Someone looked like you said it. Somebody said,
I'll take the credit if you want me to.
Yeah, it sounded like you. No, they said they really hated him, and then the dust settles at the end of the game, and you think, I'd like him to play for us. It's that type of player, 5 million is a bit punchy, but then I balance it and think, look, if you want that sort of quality that can play for me right across the front line. we said when we got Coburn 5 million, up to 5 million, some were saying that's just ridiculous money. You'd pay that all day long now. You know, it's a modern game now. Look, we're talking about the new kid, Jensen, a different ball game now. So I think he would add. I think he'd be a good addition. Hopefully there's something in it. Not sure now.
Yeah, good stuff. Ben, when we talk about young players coming through, okay, 24, he's probably on the cuff of young and experienced. But the good thing is he has got championship experience. He is proven he can score goals. He's very versatile. He can play on the wings. He could play up front. He's very, very hard working. Is it fair to say that he's an Alex Neil type of player?
Yeah, 100%, mate. And just going on that experience, 70 games he's played in the Championship now. Last season, in terms of numbers, got 13 goal contributions, 8 goals, 5 assists. So numbers-wise, fairly decent as well. Looking at like 1 in 4, which is you're not far off as these sorts of levels when you're looking at that. As Disco said, can play anywhere across that front line, centre forward, either wing, works hard. So yeah, absolutely, mate. I think he fits our system, the way we want to play. It's quite quick as well, and I think that was something we didn't necessarily have.
Pace,
probably doing Femi a little bit of disservice there because he's not slow, but that sort of electric pace, I think he adds that on the other side as well. Adds that bit of depth at centre forward if you want to play him there. He was obviously not in the side because McBurney was obviously doing so well. So, yeah, I think there's no downside to it. It's not going to be £5 million up front either, is it? It's going to be £2.5 million plus add-ons if we get to the Premier League and probably promote playoffs and all that sort of thing. So it's not going to be a £5 million fee outright. The only thing, mate, as I said, and Disco alluded to, is if we've been linked, I would assume that means we're not interested. But that's just based on history. So I'd love him if he is available. If he is.
Let's hope, fingers crossed, he is. And Ed, obviously £5 million, big money for Millwall. Would you be excited by the signing of Carl Joseph, or would you rather spend that money sort of elsewhere if you're in control of that purse?
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on this one because I don't dislike him. I have to be really, really honest. I think it wasn't until we played Hull in the league game at home. And I think when he scored, it came out that his dad supported Millwall. Then all of a sudden, there's this player seemingly randomly from up north who's got a Millwall supporting dad. So all of a sudden, everyone seems to take notice of him and his form.
And scored 2 goals against us as well. Yeah.
And scores. I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit on the fence. I kind of feel like he's quite tenacious and he gets after, from what I've seen, he gets after players and he presses. He's kind of like almost like I think someone's actually put it in the comment. He's a little bit like Langstaff, I think.
Works hard.
Yeah. Obviously, Langstaff is minus the goals. And what did Joseph get this season? 8? Was it? I read somewhere. Was it 8 goals? Something like that? Which is not a bad return, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know. It's not one that super excites me, but equally, it's not one, I think, like Ben said, I don't think it's going to be 5 mil up front, but just that figure did initially make me think, I don't know. But then on the flip side, in this day and age, £5 million is not a lot of money, and if you want to go and progress, then likelihood is you're going to have to spend that kind of money on players. So
especially if you're selling Femi Aziz for say 20 million plus, and suddenly 5 million, it's a very small percentage. If he's going to replace him on that right wing, perhaps you don't know, do you? If that's the logic and the thinking behind it, but it'd be interesting to see how that one pans out.
Sorry, mate, I was going to say, just looking at his game time, he doesn't complete 90 minutes very often. But again, that'll be because of where he was playing, and maybe he was coming off the bench from McBurney. But having a look on transfer market, 1, 2, twice last year he completed 90 minutes, and the rest of the time he either come off the bench or was taken off pretty early. So there is that element to it. You are looking at a player that was playing for a side that was touted to be going down by a wide margin last year. So there is, I'm slightly in agreement with Ed in that respect. It is, you do need to look at it away from probably the Millwall connection, I think.
Yeah, good point, guys. We're not far away from potentially Steve Morison joining us, so we'll keep talking about transfers until Steve joins. You're not going to be joined until at least 8 o'clock, so keep tuned in. Another transfer rumour. This one, a player possibly looking to leave Millwall, is the possible return of Barry Bannon to Sheffield Wednesday. Ed, I don't know whether you see that rumour, but it's only a rumour at this stage. But it'd be interesting to see this one, because obviously he only started at Millwall in January. If we're honest, we never really saw the best of him, did we? And there was a bit of noise after the playoffs as well, weren't there? If you recall, there was comments made on social media involving his wife, and which seems to suggest that maybe there have been some frustrations about how he was being used, or the lack of being used by Alex Neil. Obviously, we don't want to make too much of that, but maybe the move hasn't quite worked out for him and everyone else involved. And do you see Sheffield Wednesday being a good move from going back? Or do you want us to keep for another season? What's your thoughts on that? And guys in the chat as well, 1, to keep Bannon, 2, to let him go. I'd be interested to get your thoughts in the chat. Sorry, Ed, go on, mate.
No, you're right. Like you said, I think from the get-go, it was a weird one when he joined. Once upon a time, Barry Bannon would have been a good signing, I think. But yeah, it's just the whole... He came, barely played. Obviously, we've kind of touched on his other half getting a bit lively on socials and stuff. We won't go there too much, but yeah, I think for all concerned, it's probably just best we sort of say, we tried, we failed, and let's just part ways and let's never speak of this again. I think. Yeah,
that's a fair comment. Disco, lots of 2s in the chat. A lot of the listeners are saying that they're happy to let him go. I mean, if he does go, obviously central midfield does become a bigger priority for us as well, by bringing more midfielders in. But what did you make of Bannon? And would you be sorry to see him go? Do you think he's got another year left in him playing for us? And what's your thoughts on the whole transfer debacle there?
Well, I think that's the word, Joe, and it turned out to be a bit of a debacle and a circus, the whole bloody thing. I wasn't totally out of favour with it when it happened, because I did think we needed that type of creativity in midfield. Don't think Alex saw it that way, did he? He didn't really use him. He tried him in a 10, and it didn't work. He had one really decent game. Was it Oxford? Oxford at home. He ran the show.
Really
and I
good,
think it's not debatable. The guy's got quality. I think he came on at Borough and did well. He came on at Ipswich, didn't he, and did well. So, look, little snippets of he's not used. He wasn't terrible. Wasn't one of the worst signings we've ever had. But I do think it was a missed opportunity in January. We probably needed something more or different, which we didn't get. And look, this is a rumour, Ben, that I think is definitely out and is definitely going to happen. He is going back, isn't he? Clearly, he loves the place. They love him. And listen, let's get as much of our money back as we can and move on. And it's already started with the new kid coming in.
Yeah. Cheers, Disco. Ben, just final words from yourself, mate. I mean, would you be disappointed to see Bannon leave? And do you feel we ever saw the best of him, really, when we signed him?
Sadly, no on the first one, and definitely no on the second question there, mate. I tried really hard to find reasons as to why this would work and how we were going to fit him into an Alex Neil system and everything in between, and it just hasn't. It didn't work in the 10. He wasn't the sort of defensive midfielder that we play with because he doesn't have those sorts of attributes. I mean, he absolutely bossed the game against Oxford, but I mean, I probably could have done that. They were on holiday and didn't want to play, so that's not saying much. And yeah, Ed mentioned not mentioning his missus, but I'm going to. She lost her head on that last game. Get her to fuck up the road with him, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, pack their bags, send them off, and thanks for the experiment. We'll go with that.
Nice one. Cheers for that, Ben. And so, guys.
Lost you, Joe.
No, Joe's lost his sound again.
Yeah, I touched the wrong button there. Sorry. We reached 8 o'clock, and of course, we promised that Lions legend Steve Morison will be joining us to talk about his time working with and playing for Kenny Jackett, of course. So we will bring him out very shortly. But before I do that, unless I make a technical howler here, I'm going to try and show a video that Mill put together, which I think was beautiful. I think it was a really kind of heartfelt video and showing Kenny Jackett sort of talking and just sort of sums Kenny up really. It's very kind of beautiful, very humble, respectful, and shows his kind of warmth for Millwall. So I'm going to bring that up for you guys now before we bring Steve Morison out. So give us 2 seconds and hopefully I'll won't make a mistake and get this one working for you. Give us 2 seconds, guys.
And they'll remember too the job that Kenny Jackett, the manager, has done. 5th last year, 3rd this year, and they finished closest to the automatic promoted sides, and they are the side who this time have done it.
To thank the board of directors, the players, the staff, and in particular supporters who I've had a great relationship with and have backed me many times. And I'd like to thank them for the best part of nearly 6 years. Myself and my family who have been regular visitors to the Den. We'll always have a great affinity and look out for the club's results, and we do wish everybody the very best of luck in the future.
The period of 5.5 years with the promotion, well, firstly avoiding relegation to League Two, the 2 playoffs, promotion and FA Cup semi-final, and a 4th year in prospect in the Championship. You must be very pleased with what you've achieved.
I am, and I've enjoyed my time here as well. A considerable amount. It's been good times, and now it's up to somebody else to come in and pick it up. I'm very proud to have played my part in the development of what I consider to be a fantastic club. And this chapter now is over, and we all look forward to the next one. Yeah, there have been some fantastic atmospheres at the Den and some great wins. You can go down to the playoff games with Leeds United were really special days. Big wins along the way. And in both the league and the cup, and the atmosphere generated at the Den is unlike no other football ground that I've been at. You can get bigger grounds and bigger attendances, but you won't get a better atmosphere. And the feeling as a manager when the team are playing well and there's a great bond then between both the team and then the supporters, you really feel like you're doing your job, and the supporters then are driving you on to fantastic wins. And we've had many of those over the years, too many to mention individually, and some crucial games in different divisions and in different competitions. But the atmosphere at the Den will be one that I'll always remember, and take great pride in fostering and developing. No, it's been a fantastic period for myself and for my family, and my family have been down on a regular basis and loved it. Loved the atmosphere at the Den and the people. They're very, very unique and special people, and inside of the club. I've never been to a club where the people inside of the club try harder for the manager and for the players. It's almost a siege mentality inside. It makes it a unique atmosphere, and it does make it like a family. And it's a fantastic club. And unless you've worked there, you wouldn't understand the special bond that everybody within it has got. So it's been a terrific part of our lives.
Getting us all going again.
Wow, God, how emotional was that? Brilliant. Yeah. What a beautiful video. What a fantastic guy. Amazing. Look, guys, we're now delighted to welcome a proper Lions legend. I think we often use the word legend quite loosely sometimes, but I think this guy thoroughly deserves the status. Someone who gave us so many brilliant memories in a Millwall shirt. Someone who played a massive part in that Kenny Jackett era. Someone whose career was hugely influenced by Kenny. It's the one, it's the only Steve Morison. How you doing, Steve? You okay?
I'm good. You?
Yeah, good to have you.
I was better before that video. I'll tell you that for one.
Oh no, don't! I was watching. I had a tear in my eye. I thought, this is going to be terrible. I'll go back on screen again.
I nearly walked off. I think I don't want to listen to it again.
I know. How are you, mate? Good for you to come on with us. Really do appreciate your time, and thank you so much. I know the fans watching here are really sort of excited to sort of see you on. And yeah, as sad as it has been with the news of Kenny Jackett, I think this is more of a celebration, I think, of his life, is how I want to sort look at it and talk about all the good things, all the fond memories that you and many other players have had. Really, obviously Kenny brought you straight from Stevenage at a stage of your career where you're sort of breaking through the ranks, so to speak. And just want to know, what was your first impressions of him, and what made you feel that he believed that he could make the step up and be a success at Millwall?
Yeah, like you think, remember I was 25, 26 when I joined Millwall. Like I wasn't a young pup. And yeah, look, I was going to join in January in that season that we lost that against Scunthorpe. But it didn't happen. Couldn't agree fees, etc., etc. The only team were looking at me, and I remember Kenny coming to, I think it was Russian and Diamonds, if you remember them from back in the day. Yeah. The old Dr. Mark.
That's right.
They, him and Joe come and watch me play. It was around Christmas time, and I scored a really good goal, had a really good game. And I went home after the game thinking, yeah, that's me. They're going to take me now, because you know when you have a good game, you know when you have a bad game. And I'd had a good game. And it didn't happen, and I remember it quite vividly, actually. Graham Wesley, obviously you've heard many a story about Graham Wesley, but Graham Wesley always used to randomly just go for dinner as his captain. Just literally, we used to do it improperly all the time. And we were there that night, and just before we left, he went, "Oh, come and say nothing." So we went and sat in his car, and he rang Kenny Jackett, and they had a conversation, not knowing I was in the car, and it was basically Kenny promising that they'd obviously come and take me at the end of the season. Just keep doing what you're doing. So that was something that obviously stuck to his word. And I'd aligned before your season had even ended at school. And I was at the FA Trophy final. I remember getting interviewed after the game saying, "It'll be my last game when I'll be joining Millwall." And I signed 2 contracts, one in the Champ, one in the League One. Best thing that ever happened to me was obviously Scunthorpe winning, because I don't know whether I'd have lasted 21 games scoring 1 goal and being kept in the team week in, week out if the team was in the Championship.
You wouldn't have.
I might have got a grand a week extra. That was about it. Do you know what I mean? Back then, so it was. So look, he stuck to his word. Obviously, the season didn't end how it wanted for you guys, and then obviously I joined in the season. And look, it's funny when you talk about Kenny, because that's probably the most I've ever heard Kenny speak.
I believe it.
And that's not like he weren't a talker. Like we used to laugh and joke. Ken's one of those, if you didn't talk to you were doing all right.
Yeah, I get that.
And he was just, as I said, he gave me my opportunity. I owe him so much, because he was the one that obviously took the chance on me, because it always is a gamble. I scored goals at National League level or Conference level back then. And he wasn't like, I can't sit here and go, "Oh, I remember the first conversation we had," or anything like that. It was just what he did his talking by putting me on the pitch every week. I thought he was doing his talking and telling me to get the hell out of here when he whipped me off against Staines when I missed at the back post, and I didn't think I was ever going to play again. But yeah, look, he showed his faith in me, kept sticking me out there, and I eventually paid him back. And obviously the shirt behind me, obviously that was the first playoff, that final that we won. And then obviously we had such a good season the next year in the Champ. And then obviously, I had the period in Jan where a couple of teams come sniffing and I didn't go, caused a bit of unrest. Remember every bad game I had, apparently I didn't want to be there. Every good game I had, it was fine. And that's football. And then obviously, huge part of me getting a move as well, because he supported me getting that opportunity. So look, I owe him I owe him loads.
Well, we've got lots of questions to get through, Moro. So you can see the love in the chat there for you. Everyone there, in the chat on screen. A lot of love there for Moro. And also a big part of what you mentioned there, Steve, which is very, very true. We talked before in the past about, in those days, managers chose the players, didn't they? They chose who they wanted to sign and build their team. Today is not like that. You're kind of like a head coach, if you like, and the director of football, whoever it is, will pick the players, and you just got to kind of deal with them. Yes, you might have a small say in it, but those days, I think it was down to the managers, and Kenny clearly saw something in you that he liked. Hence the reason why he was keen to bring you in. Question I've got for you, and it's a pretty well-known story. In fact, one of my favourites. But there's a time when Kenny had a big conversation with you, Steve, didn't he? With you after showing you clips of some of your performances, and he basically told you that you become too nice to play against defenders, and he felt that you needed to be a little bit more horrible, a bit more aggressive, and be a bit more of a handful. I guess he probably chose other words, a bit more ruder than that. But can you just talk us through how that conversation came about, and what exactly did he say to you, and why did it become such a big turning point in your Mill career?
Well, this is quite interesting because it's the amount of VAT that gets put on stories is great. It was one game. I think it was Wickham at home, and
2-1 loss.
Yeah, something like that. It was a Tuesday night, but basically we came in on the Thursday, and he just said, someone said the gaffer wants to see you. So I went upstairs to see him. He said, let's watch this together. And I thought we were going to watch like the game, and he was going to like talk to me. And basically I went up for a header. Player was on the floor, and the game carries on. And you're kind of watching it thinking, what's the situation here? And I don't know if I'm allowed to swear or not, but basically...
you can swear, it's fine. Yeah.
He basically just... He went, keep watching. So I'm watching it, and basically in the corner of the screen, you see me picking the player back up and basically checking he's all right.
All right.
He said, don't ever fucking ask anyone if they're all right again.
Wow.
Otherwise you won't play for this football club. And literally, and he went, see you later, and I left the room. And
Brilliant.
And
that was it. It was very short, but very to the point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really simple, and it's quite funny because my son said to me, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the other day. He was like, Dad, it's well funny. Everyone thinks you're Wellard. And I was like, and I was just like laughing. And I was like, I know it's funny, isn't it? Because basically it's just because of some people can't differentiate you from when you step over the white line and when you don't.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And what type of person you are. And safest place in the world is a football pitch. You can be the most horrible person in the world. No one's going to do nothing. And look, it's something that when I played at Stevenage, I was always a runner. I just used to get chances and stuff like that. And I come to Millwall and I was still doing those things, but I had to learn to, if I weren't scoring, to be contributing on the pitch, all that kind of stuff. And it was just something that it then followed me around, didn't it? Like being that little bit nasty, being a little bit of having an edge to me. And again, it might be something so simple and great bit of man management. And for me, I took that on, and I can safely say I don't think I ever picked anyone else up. If anything, I kind of played on it as much as I can, and it's all start of a learning curve. Like I'd never experienced anything like that. I'd always played on wanting to prove people wrong. Something that I always kind of held on to because you have setbacks along the way. And then with Kenny's one, it was more of like, do you know what? Your game's all right, but you need to add this edge to your game and it'll make you better. And something I never consciously thought about going forward, but subconsciously, it definitely played a big part.
Yeah, amazing.
Steve, can I just ask quickly, sorry?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think that was because you were playing for Millwall, or do you think that was just, that would make you a better player, full stop, that he did that?
You don't know. Like, no one would have even noticed it, would they? Let's get it right. Like, I didn't know I was doing it. I hadn't got a clue. It was, and I don't even know why I did it in that. I might have only done it once.
Yeah.
But maybe it was like looking back at the game. Maybe it was, how can we get more out of Steve, or was it just something that he didn't like? Like Kenny had an edge. Kenny had an edge to him. Yeah. Like lots of people won't have seen. Like he's going head to head with Fordy in dressing rooms. Like And we were all like, what the hell's going on here? Like, you'll get killed.
Yeah.
But he never backed down. And he just had this, this knack of, and we used to laugh, and we used to, Kenny's being a weirdo again. He's standing like 300 yards away while we're training. Do you know what I mean? And you'd be like, and it was a running. It was like, but he would just do that. It would be Joe would be taking training with Shawsey, and then the level would drop, and then all of a sudden someone would go like, oh, Gaffer's in the trees, like that, and then you just like the level would rise. And it was just, it was like
just had that aura about him.
Yeah, he just standards. He had great standards, and he always used to. Like, again, we laughed because of the environment we was in. We was in such a good environment that we used to laugh about it, but there were so many standard setters, and I wouldn't have been one then. I was the one that needed to have my standard raised because I didn't know what excellent looked like or what a good standard looked like. I'd come in from being someone who just turn up on a Saturday, score a goal and go home. Like, there's more to it. We had such a good group, Framps, TC, Robbo, Chopper, like you got to think some big characters, 4D, who basically hated strikers and we hated goalkeepers. You know what I mean? And it was always, whenever we had a bad game, it was like, any chance you getting hold of it, and we were like, any chance you saving it. Like, it was just constant.
It's just constant.
But Kenny he just put a really good group of people together. And I'll always remember our first pre-season trip to Ireland, and obviously it was my first trip away, and like I said, there's lots of like important things that happen. Like Chopper went to me, oh, Morrow, do you want to room with me? Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm the new guy, and he's the legend, and he wanted me to go with him, which was amazing.
Lovely.
But it was also like, what do we do in the evenings? And it was like, we go for a beer. And I was like, right, okay. So we're all going for a beer, and then you go to a pub, and all the staff are in there apart from Kenny. And but the rule was, obviously these guys have been there longer than me. As long as no one knocks on Kenny's door, if Kenny didn't know about it, it was fine.
Right,
and and it was brilliant. It was so funny. So it was like, as long as like the reception didn't knock on the door and say like they're being really loud down there, or Joe didn't have to go and report back, or as long as you all rocked up to training the next day and all performed, it was, and that was like my first experience into like senior football and going out into run the next day, and like I weren't a big drinker and all that kind of stuff. But it was he just had this aura and energy around him where he knew what he wanted. He often would, if we lost, he'd tell us how great we was. If we won, he'd just absolutely hammer us, and we was just like, what is going on?
Really? So he just kept you on the level the whole time?
Yeah, just constant. And it's like, you don't even notice it at the time. You don't even notice it. You're just going with it. You just, and then obviously, as you get older, as you see us outside the ball as well as a manager, it was great. It was great. He's a massive part of, I said, my success. And I said, you look at a lot of the players who played for him in that time, arguably say some of their best times in their career as well. Some of them weren't as lucky to have good times elsewhere, or even back at the club in a different time. But a lot of them, it's the best time of their career under Kenny.
Very much so. Another question, sorry. So Kenny, obviously, as you say, was known as a very sort of calm and sort of thoughtful manager in some ways, but also someone who could be very honest and kind of blunt with players, as you put it, when needed. What was he like with you, though, sort of day to day as a coach and as a person? And how do you feel he kind of got the best out of you?
As I said, I think I said it right at the start. I said, if he didn't talk to you, you knew you're doing all right. If he spoke to you, you didn't. Look, Kenny was just, he's a funny guy, mate. He's a funny guy. And I said, you can say it now and you can talk about it and you can smile about it. And honestly, you'd walk past him in the corridor, you'd say morning, he'd just ignore you. And you'd just be like, you'd just be like, again. Do you know what I mean? Like, what have I done? But then everyone was on their toes. Like, everyone was like, oh, no. Like, he's going to...
wow.
Yeah, he's on one today, and I've actually seen quite a few of his traits in Chopper when he managed. He'd do that as well, but Chopper, because me and him had a different relationship when I went back. So he'd walk past me, Chopper, and go like, "I'm going to hammer the lads today. You all right, Morrow?" You'd be like, "Yeah, I'm all right. Oh, good. The lad's going to get it." So he'd be acting like that for everyone else because he knew but obviously I was a different person then and a different type of animal, so it was fine. But yeah, Kenny just, I said he weren't a big talker. He didn't talk to me much in that whole time, but it was because on the whole, I largely was performing and doing well over those 2 years. So even in that period, weren't scoring as many goals, but I was still playing week in, week out. It was only that one time that he really had a pop at me. Outside of that, he did his talking by. I think if we looked at the teams back there, I bet he often played the same team quite a lot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and like you say, the fact that you kind of quickly worked him out, didn't you, as well? The fact he won't say much to you, it's almost like, well, I'm doing something right at the moment. And as you put it, if he is having a word with you, it's because you're not doing something right. So you kind of almost want to avoid him, don't you, at all costs?
Yeah, it's just like I said, you get a lot of experience around it. So people would say, "Oh, if he's not like," because you would be like, "Gaffer never talks to me," but then Chop would go, "That's a good thing. Don't worry about it." But then also he had good people like Joe Gallen. I see him all the time. He was one of the lads. Show with Shozza. Do you know what I mean? So it was different, different people. I'm going to kill my son. He's got my trainers on doing kick-ups outside again.
Oh, real well.
Seriously, put your own trainers on. Stop ruining mine. He was like he had really good people around him, and the staff were amazing as well. And I said, I know Kenny spoke about it in that video, but it's still now when you go back. And I said, the best thing he said in that whole video is, you don't really understand Millwall unless you've been a part of it.
That's true.
And that's the truth. Like, as a player, if you don't get it, you don't get it at all until unless you've been inside. That you go back and there is new people, but still the core is as it was.
And there's so many players and ex-managers that you could always nick that line, couldn't you? I mean, you could nick that line coming from Stevenage to Millwall, having a preconception what Millwall's about, and then you come in a bit like Chopper as well, coming from Cambridge. You know, to go into it and to breathe it, to witness it, to be part of your life. It is, as Kenny says, you don't know what it's about until you're actually there, are you? You know?
No, you don't. You don't have a clue, and that's what makes it unique. And obviously, it also annoys you when the negativity comes, because it's always just 100%. those few that ruin it for the majority, and actually for what it is. Like I said, the playoff games that obviously didn't go the way everyone wanted them to over that. Like, it still was, like, it was bang to rafters for weeks leading up to that game, wasn't it? Like, and I've never seen it then like that. I've never seen it for week in, week out. Even when we were flying, like, doing well, it was still never banged out. It still says there's 10,000 on a Tuesday night, and you're looking around going, there's never been 10,000 in there. But like, in that run into the end of last season, there was 20,000 in there. It was brilliant.
Sellouts, weren't it? Every most home games, weren't it? You know. We've got some more questions for you, Stephen. I know the rest of the guys will have a question each for you as well. When you look back now, not just as a former player, but someone who has gone into coaching and management yourself, of course, what parts of Kenny Jackett's approach have stayed with you, and what do you think his legacy should be at Millwall? So I guess the first part is, what did you feel you inherited from Kenny in your management style?
Well, I think you take things on board. As I said, we used to laugh about him watching from miles away in training, but you kind of get it. You're taking like a bit of a different lens. You're looking at it from a distance. You're maybe seeing a bit more. I think that, like, bits like that where it's not you haven't consciously thought about it, but when you do it, and then when you talk about people like Kenny and what he did, you go, oh, that's maybe why he did that. I get that. That's interesting.
Do you ever ignore your players in the past? You go past in the corridor. Did you use that one a couple of times?
No, people are too soft now. There's no way you get away with that.
Get done by agent.
It's like, oh, you ain't spoke to me, and then you get an agent calling you. Just like, you have to do the opposite now. You're like overly nice to them.
overly say hello. Yeah, how's your mum? Yeah, how's your dad?
Mate, his legacy speaks for itself. His legacy is like we're having a conversation, aren't we?
Yeah,
that's the reality. We are having a conversation, and we're And yeah, the love and the support that he's had. I knew he was ill, obviously. I spoke to his son's an agent, so we'd cross paths and look, it's his legacy is the fact that we're all still talking about him as being great. And it was actually quite sad. I was at work today and they had, I can't remember, it was the COVID season, I think, 2019, 2020, and I spanned my head round and looked at the screen and I was like, oh, there's Kenny, because it was Salford versus Portsmouth in the Papa John's final. And it was just, you know what it's like, it's just, it could have been anyone on the TV at that moment as you look round, and it was him. So it was, and also, as I said, like as a manager, he wasn't just good at Millwall either. He was good at
everywhere he went,
and that's a testament to him, isn't it?
Very much so, very much so. You can see it by the tributes paid by Wolves, the fans, Portsmouth, Swansea, Watford, of course, everyone. They're all pouring out great tributes. So I'm going to open up to the rest of the panel.
Wolves to record points total in League One, didn't he? I think.
Yeah. Records points. Yeah.
Ben, do you have a question for Morrow?
I do, mate. I've actually got two now. So I'm going to have two. Morrow, could you believe your luck when Alex Smithies palmed that out to you in the 22nd minute of that playoff game? Was the first question.
No, mate, you don't. You're not even thinking at the time. I did remind him though, because I managed him at Cardiff, so I was like, but no, obviously, look, it was a huge moment, and you'd say right place, right time, but you keep getting yourself between the sticks, keep getting yourself in the right areas, you get opportunities, and obviously it set us up for an amazing night. That was one hell of a night, wasn't it? Especially when Robbo sunk the header late on. It was
That was my cheeky first question, Mauro. But my main one, mate, was something you touched upon earlier about certain, even pundits giving us a bit of stick. Do you feel like Alex Neil, the boys in the club, got the credit they deserved? Obviously, you did a lot of punditry for the Lions on Sky for our games, and obviously, you're very complimentary about us. But do you feel like other pundits and analysts, if you want to call them that, just didn't give us the credit last year? Because it felt like, as a fan, we didn't get that credit from some people.
Do you know what? I wouldn't say you deserved more credit, but the reality was, like, I don't think we won it.
No, we don't.
And like the whole was like, obviously I couldn't say it because I was doing it a lot for BBC London and Sky, but it was like the worst draw possible. Whole. Yeah. Like two teams that arguably don't want the football. As stupid as that sound.
Yeah.
Hull being sixth, us being third, basically meant like, well, Mill have got to have the ball then because they're the better team. And it was like, yeah, but love Coops to death. You don't want him to have the ball more than anyone else on the pitch. You just don't. Yeah. And it played into Hull's hands. But look, I think Mill are never going to get the credit that other people get because it's just not. It's just not.
Not fashionable to like.
It's just not sexy enough, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, and ultimately, it's we don't want the underdog, but I see it as it's people just don't like the fact that they're successful, and I do think all of it though has given. I think Alex Neil has put himself in a really good position to. If we don't have the success next year, it's not a problem as long as we evolve. Yeah. As long as we get better. And getting better might not be finishing third. It might not even making the playoffs. You've actually only got to beat 8th this year, haven't you, to get there? So it's a bit different. But I think it's a chance to evolve, and we've got to be able to be better in those games where we have the ball more. So if that's, do you get two more centre halves that can play better football or better on the ball, but you might give something up, so we might concede from a set piece.
Yeah,
we might not be as good, but the fans can't be then getting on everyone's back because otherwise, never going to be able to evolve. And I'm not saying you're going from one extreme to another. I'm saying like, is there a chance to just add a little bit more? There's a huge squad. There's a massive squad last year, but it still didn't change the way the team played. week to week. So is there, and I'm sure that Steve Gallen and Alex Neil will be, I'm sure they'll be thinking on the same lines as that, because I don't think you're always going to have the success playing one way all the time, and that goes to the other teams like Middlesbrough and Southampton. They all play a certain way and they just do the same thing over and over again. They can't adapt, can they? So when it weren't working against Hull, they couldn't do anything.
Sorry, Mark. Do you think that was the reason behind getting Bannon in? Maybe someone who can get on the ball and create things, because we did really have that kind of midfielder way before Bannon coming, but he wasn't really utilised much either, was he? I suppose.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it is. I can see why they brought him in, because quality and added a bit of know-how, bit of experience to the group. But then, largely on the whole, when he wasn't playing, Millwall were a better team.
Yeah,
because they were better on the. You can see why Saka played in the two playoff games, because on transition he was really good at getting back in, being 1v1. But yeah, you can see why he was brought in, like his quality, and like when he had the opportunity at Oxford, he was excellent. But as I said, it was a bit of a nothing game once.
Yeah.
Once QPR started pirouetting on the edge of their own box against Ipswich, it was a nightmare. But yeah, I think he's just someone that obviously adds something different, and maybe we don't know what the deal looked like. Maybe it was worthwhile financially as well.
Yeah,
keep sticking it up. I'm on Sky anyway, Moro.
No worries, mate.
Disco, you got a question for Moro?
Yeah, Steve. Listen, first and foremost, thanks for coming on, mate. Absolute delight to listen to you and speak to you tonight. Thanks for all the many memories, not least that famous Wembley goal. That was a super moment, mate. Thanks for that. But I'm talking about a great striker, which you were, certainly for us as much as your other clubs. We get coming, and I know this might be a little bit awkward for you to answer, but you'll answer it in your own inimitable way, I'm sure. But every week on this show we do it, people talk about this subject. So I'd really love to get your thoughts on it. Mihailo Ivanovic, real great prospect for us, but certainly just lacks something. We all feel we know what it is, but if we feel he really lacks something as a top quality striker, Millwall striker right now, wonder if you could share what your thoughts on that are. And the second part of the question is, do you think you could maybe have a help with that at some point in his career?
What Disco's saying is he likes picking up defenders off the ground when they fall over.
What is it you lot think he's lacking then?
What do you think? And I'm not playing games. What do you think we think it is?
I ain't got a clue.
So basically, his favourite player is Mitrovic. He looks up to him, Serbian, blah, blah, blah. But he's not a Mitrovic type of player. By that, he's not aggressive. He's too nice. Technically a very good player. But you measure him against Coburn, for example. He's a bit more physical, a bit more aggressive. If I was a defender, I would hate to play against you. I would hate to play against Josh Coburn. But you kind of almost appreciate you want to play against Ivanovic because he's just a nice player to play against. But again, it's what changes up here to make him that better player. I guess what Disco's saying, isn't it?
Too nice.
It's interesting because I think his biggest weakness is his actually technical ability. So I don't think he is that good technically. Coburn's better technically. Okay. If you watch the games, it often breaks down on him a lot. His hold-up play, I don't think is at the level it needs to be. I think he's been hindered, and this might sound weird, with Coburn's injuries because he hasn't had that person to push him. Obviously, he got into a comfort zone, and I felt that when I was watching. I was like, he just seems like he knows he's going to get picked every week. And ultimately, sounds horrible, but Coburn's better. His all-round game is better. And Ivanovic can get better. I don't doubt that at all. I don't know. I think the not getting his move last year, I think you've seen maybe a dip in his levels, or did he just have a really good season the season before and hasn't been able to replicate it? Because he still was joint top goal scorer. I think the goals were shared across the team this year. But he was out on his own, wasn't he, last year with that?
Yeah.
So I think look, there's work to be done on his game. I think it's a technical side of his game. He needs to be better. He needs to learn off of watch what Josh does, how he backs in, how he gets hold of the ball and things like that. But yeah, it's on the training ground, and obviously maybe it's a mentality thing as well, where he needs to get that fire in his belly, and if it's because, I don't know, he doesn't want to be there, for example, or he sees his again, Millwall's a strange club. Look, we've seen it. We've seen many players that they, like, you look at Tristan Kramer, for example, and if he excels him there, it'd be really interesting if he wasn't at Millwall, how we would get on. I've got a real thought in my brain. I don't think he'd be as good as if we weren't at Millwall.
Anywhere else.
Because he gets away with, like, mistakes and stuff like that because he's
robust and tries hard, doesn't
how
he?
He plays and everyone just loves it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas all of a sudden, if he was in like a back three in a team who plays expensive football, would he be great in 1v1 situations in big areas? You don't know, and that's what a lot of other teams do. So
hold that thought, Morrow, because we might be getting 15 million quid for him. So just hold that thought, mate. Don't shout about it too loudly.
Yeah, well, as I said, they'll have done their work. They won't be worrying about what I've got. So, but yeah, I just think with
Ivanovic,
it's just a case of, I think just technically he needs to get a little bit better with his back to goal. And what I suppose he did really well last year was he's running his work rate. He got a lot of his chances last year, the year before, sorry.
Yeah.
Just by working hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I just felt there was a little bit more of an edge to him that first season. And maybe the Josh shining and Josh being ahead of him put his nose out of joint. And you go one or two ways with stuff like that. You either try harder or you don't.
So if you got hold of him though, as I said, like if you ever had a role to play in that, you'd be really working on his technical ability,
rather than mental. It's interesting to hear that.
Yeah, I would personally. I'd understand. He's got to understand when to use one touch, when to use two touch, when to back in, get his body in. Like, can he pass when he heads the ball rather than just flicking it into no man's land?
Yes.
All that kind of stuff. But no doubt the boys at the club are doing that. It's just, as I said, and then it flicks into the mentality. It's like, how much do you want to do it? How hard do you want to? Do you want to do that? To be honest.
Interesting. I won't labour the point, but interesting. He had a really good pre-season last year, didn't he, Joe?
I was out. Obviously, he's done well. Even in Spain, like we saw a different side to him, didn't we, Disco? And he was physical. Like, he was bumping into defenders, being aggressive and winning the ball and battling. And then the season starts. It's almost like we're back into his shell again. And it's weird because so many fans, not just us, but fans, always say, we need to get Morrow with him. We need to get Morrow with him. Spend a bit of time with him.
But I'll chuck this out. I'll chuck this at you, right? Pre-season, I never scored a goal in pre-season in 15 years, right? Couldn't give a toss about pre-season. Like, it's just a case of, and if Ivanovic is trying a little bit harder than the centre half who doesn't really care about pre-season,
that's true.
And then what happens? First game of the season, everyone tries a little bit harder.
Good point.
It's not rocket science. Like, do you know what I mean? Pre-season, I lost one game in pre-season last year for Sutton. It was against Millwall 6-2. Beat every single team. We didn't win in our first 10 games.
Wow.
But the best pre-season I've ever had in my life. As a coach, as a player.
It shows you, doesn't it?
It means nothing. As I said, look, a good player, can you get him back to levels? That's going to be up to him to go. But it's hard it's hard for him to kind of show it fully, because the fully fit Josh Coburn for me plays ahead of
I agree.
So
I agree.
No, thanks, mate. Right, brilliant. Thank you.
Ed, question for you, mate, before we say goodbye to tomorrow.
Yeah, just another thank you, really, Steve. I really enjoyed listening to you talking. Apart from my two kids being born, the only other time my missus has seen me cry is when you scored at Wembley. So thank you for that as well. So my question, I'll take you back to when you were playing in that sort of era. You know, tonight we've looked back so fondly at that time. you know, we mentioned the players, the squad we had. As a player, obviously you're training day in, day out, and it's your job. Do you ever get a sense in the moment that it's a special group that you're with, or is that only in retrospect you look back and think what a group we had, or can you kind of feel it in the moment when you're playing?
Yeah, you know when you've got a good group. You know when you've got a good group. Like I know when we had a terrible group under Lomas and Holloway. Terrible. Yeah, the group.
Terrible, not as an inability, as in just everything mentally.
Just it wasn't a nice place to be. Just the culture weren't right, and that's not the people. That's not Steve Lomas. That's not Holloway. That's just it weren't. It was a bad. Like the recruitment in that period was bad. Do you know what I mean? It just wasn't good. And yeah, it showed. It showed. We stayed up by the skin of our teeth, didn't we, that year? But you knew when you had a good group. It's easy to say it once you do win it, but both years we got to the playoff final and won. You kind of knew you were going to win. Like after Bristol Rovers, you was like, yeah, this is us. After the Bradford was the year we got there. After the Scunny game, you fancied yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. So after the Bristol Rovers, we got to the Scunthorpe game. Once we won away at Scunny, you were like, yeah, this is going to be us. But we knew Bradford was going to be a tough game. First season, obviously we get in there. It was a tit for tat, wasn't it, on the last day? But then Bristol Rovers decided with 10 men to give it to Leeds because that'd have been amazing going up. Or especially the way we ended that game, didn't we? Like just absolutely blew them away with a couple of great goals. And yeah, when we got to that final, I didn't think. The only worry you had was if Charlie Austin was going to get a chance because he was on fire that year as well as us, and obviously I was standing right behind when he missed. But that was his one moment in the whole game. But it was a really weird game because it was the most one-sided final without goals.
Yeah,
like I just felt like we just had them in all areas. They just couldn't get anywhere near us, could they? And we just didn't get that other goal, which would have put the ice in. Obviously, then Charlie gets that one where we have one slip and he goes through, and then the one bobble in Wembley, the ball's finds and it ends up in the thing. But you know when you got a good group, like I remember when we got promoted to the champ, and we went on that run once Marshy joined, and we just went on a 6-0. Like, he just was literally and the best groups as well have always been the one where we've got on the best. Like as I said, that first year, that group, like the amount of times we used to go out, like, and I'm not saying like there was a drinking culture, but what I mean by that is like if we said we was all going out, we all went out. If we said we was all going to do something, we did it. As I said, like the years when we were doing well, and like obviously it gets talked about like the Thursday club that we had and stuff like that. That was something that started with 2 of us, and then 3 of us, and then next thing you know, it was like live on Sky. Us all having a Turkish. Do you know what I mean? It was like
and Marshall and his sunnies.
Yeah, but that's how it kind of like those groups evolve, and they just become. And it was like. I know Marshall. I see a bit on Marshall the other day, not the stuff in the papers, but the stuff in the. It was like a lockdown interview with him, and he was saying like it's the best group he's ever been a part of when he come into it, and it really was. It was class. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure loads of people thought that in those times, and it was a group that just looked after itself. It managed itself, and that's what Millwall had this year. To be fair, like when I did the photo shoot for the kit, I said to Coops, I said, "What like." I said to him, like, how are you doing it? Like, you just keep going. He goes, mate, he said, honestly, I haven't had to find one person this season.
Wow.
And that's like a testament to the group. Like, no one's late. Everyone's there on point.
Comes back to that standards.
Standards are where they need to be. And that coincided with performances on the pitch. And that was something that I said, I asked him the question. It was me and T. So I was asking the question. He just went, yeah, the lads are just class, and that it shows. Obviously, Alex Neil, Steve Gallen put a great squad together, and the boys have all been the toughest thing's going to be is now they need to. Everyone just needs to stick with them next year because there'll be so many people that will be so quick if it doesn't quite go the way they want. It's like, oh, it's the end of the world. It's like, oh, no, come on, that was like.
Yeah,
and you know how patient we are as well, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. And that was some achievement last year. And to back it up, remember, you've only got to finish. Look at Hull. They only got in their last game of the season.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
That's the reality.
And look how they finished last season fighting relegation. Yeah, it's just completely turnaround, isn't it? Wasn't expected at all. I've got a cheeky question to ask you. One more question, don't mind. So I have to ask about your move to Norwich. How did that come about from your side, and what part did Kenny play in that? Did you leave with Kenny's blessings, for example, or was it difficult for you to leave Millwall at the time?
It was like, it didn't end great because I was away with Wales, was at the Aviva tournament in Ireland, and that the fee had kind of been agreed, and I had to put a transfer request in, and that was something that I was asked to do by Kenny. I did it just to let everyone know that I wanted this opportunity. And then by the time I got to my room, it was going across the video printer at the bottom that I'd handed a transfer request in. And then ultimately I was the bad guy. But when I say I got what I wanted, I got what anyone in my position would have wanted.
Absolutely.
I think it would have. And to be fair, like there was no, I understood it. And yeah, there was a couple of poor stories come out off the back of it, which I was a bad egg in the dressing room and all this kind of stuff, which was couldn't be any further from the truth. But it just painted that picture around. I've handed a transfer request in, I've threw my toys out the pram and that, and I honestly didn't. I think Jeggins, who actually rest his soul. Obviously, I don't know whether you noticed it in that clip where Kenny's going up the stairs. Jeggins is the one he fist pumps just to the left hand side, which the media lounge at Millwall's now named after him.
Of course, yeah.
He then did a story on my behalf, and the next day, actually, we told the story. And once I'd signed, so look, but people obviously they listen to what they want to listen to. But that was that. And I literally actually remember speaking to Bellas. I said, what should I do? And he just said, look, you've got to do it. And I said, yeah. So I literally wrote it on a piece of paper in the hotel reception. And back in then, it was a fax, sent the fax.
Just quickly, Steve, when you do hand a transfer request, is it like when you hand your notice in? Do you have to say, dear Kenny, I want to leave?
No, I literally just wrote it on a piece of paper. It was honestly as weird as that. Wrote it on a piece of paper, I'd like to leave. Blah, blah, blah.
But again, that was kind of forced on you, I suppose, wasn't it? It's not like you
it was all just blood. It was like, obviously, look, you don't want to talk about yourself, but I presume no one wanted me to leave. They saw it as like, I don't know, can I call myself the main man, the top goal scorer at the time?
Yeah, you were,
At the time, do you know what I mean? I'd scored 40 goals in 2 years. And I think we'd had a pretty good season, didn't we? We hadn't finished that far outside the playoffs that year. So
that's right.
Obviously, I think it was like, 3 million or whatever, and they'd paid 130 for me. And
not a bad return, is it?
Well, obviously back then, like the money was different. That was a lot, wasn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a very
for me, obviously to go and play in the Premier League, like I've never thought I was going to do that once I first joined from non-league 2 years ago. But it was just all part of the game. I was like, "What do I really have to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah, just do it, just to tell the board that you definitely want to go." And look, it wasn't really for the board, was it? It was basically to make it look like to the fans that I didn't want to be there. As I said, I know it was a few years when I was away for a bit and then obviously I joined Leeds and there was a bit of needle when I come back on loan and stuff like this, and it was a bad period. And then you walk back through the door on the Thursday before that first game of the season in League One, and you score on the Saturday, and the rest is history, isn't it? And
always forgotten,
all the great 4 or 5 years we had. So look, it was it is what it is. It was what it was at the time. It's what had to happen. Was it ideal? No. But look, it was that last 6 months was difficult at Millwall because obviously it was quite common knowledge that Forest and Norwich were trying to take me in the Jan, and I ended up signing a new deal after that. And did I want to go? At the time, they were both in the top 3, and it was more of a. I was 20, nearly 28, and I think back then it was on like $3.5 grand, and they were offering like upwards of 10.
Wow.
So you're like,
it's life changing. Yeah.
You're like, come on, let me go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you just are. That's just the.
Well, people forget, don't they? I mean, fans, forget that footballers' career is a short one. And I think you've seen it now with the players we've sold on, like the likes of SA and Fleming, and looks like Aziz is another one's going to go now. You've got to wish them all the best. To get one opportunity to play in the Premier League, to earn life-changing money, and you can't hold back. You've got to let it go. I was very, very proud, watching you playing in the Premier League with Norwich. I was like, that's our player. That's
Morison, as I said, it was one of those ones.
Didn't you? Yeah,
it was one of those. Like, it didn't happen. So like it just didn't happen, and then I got a slightly improved deal, and but obviously then the season ends, and for me, so where I'm feeling and how I'm feeling at that time is, Norwich are definitely not going to come back for me now. Do you know what I mean? They're in the Prem, like, do you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and then they were the ones who come back for me, and I was just like, oh, this has got to happen. This
brilliant.
Time.
Of course,
it's got to happen. Do you know what I mean? You've got to make that happen. There's actually,
absolutely,
and it's crazy. And then obviously, look, I went and scored 10 goals in my first season of the Prem. There's people who have got England caps and ain't even done that.
That's what I'm saying. It's incredible, and it's a proud moment for us. Like I said, I can't speak for all the fans, but I think a lot of guys here were saying in the chat as well. Seeing you do it in the Premier League and scoring and playing as well as you did, it was just a proud moment for us to see you doing so well. To get you back again, it's incredible. One question I'm curious to ask is how on earth did you end up wearing number 5 shirt? As a striker,
the only number left.
Is that literally out of all the numbers available?
I didn't want to be like 40 or something.
Right. Okay.
So when I joined, I wanted to be. Obviously, I asked for 20. Leon Barnett was wearing 20, and he was a centre half, and so 5 was left.
You think you would have swapped it over, wouldn't you?
No, I asked. I was like, right, can you ask Barney if he'll wear 5 and I can wear 20, and he wouldn't give it up. And then I think it was just some random numbers, and I was just like, I'll wear 5 then. And I was like, well, so you can't wear 5, and I was just like, well, I'd rather wear 5 than like 28 or whatever, and feel like
big number.
Yeah, I think it's a bit different now because people wear all sorts of nonsense.
Old school, Steve.
I was just a bit like, I don't know, I just felt like I wanted a number within the starting 11. Even though 20 weren't, but 20 wasn't, like, I didn't want. Like,
but it meant something to you, 20, didn't it, I suppose?
It's funny because when I joined Stevenage, I was given 20.
Yeah.
Like, it was nothing, didn't mean anything to me. It's not a birthday, it's not a family members, it's nothing. It just, I was given 20. And I always, I think if I went across my career, whenever I wore 20, I did really well.
What you nine when you first joined us?
No, I was always 20. No, I was 20.
For some reason, I don't know why
I was 20. Then when I left and joined Norwich, I went to 5. And then the second season at Norwich, Chris Hughton was like, no, you're not having 5, and gave me like 17 or something, or 16, something random like that, which was just like, he then didn't get, so that was crap. And then then I joined Leeds and took the 9 shirt.
That was it. I remember seeing 9 about. I don't know why, but
no, I was 9, and then I came on loan to Millwall, and I can't remember who was wearing 20, but it was wearing 20.
Wasn't Barron? Was it Bannon? Was it the Barron? The Barron left back? Is it Barron?
Scott Barron.
Scott Barron. Was he?
No, it wasn't Scott.
He was gone.
He was gone. When I came back, I ended up wearing 9 on loan.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I wore 9 in that season, and then obviously I went back to Leeds, and I was still 9, I think, when I went back.
Yeah. And then you come back on a perm, didn't you?
When I came back on a perm, I basically just walked in and just went, Fred had number 20, and I just went. I went, I'm happy.
I'll be having that. Thank you.
So it was.
And then they were like,
Fred took 10, didn't he?
What are we going to give Fred? I went, would you give him 10? He'll love 10.
Yeah, exactly.
So I gave him 10 and I had 20 back. So, like, outside of my first year in the Prem, obviously when I scored 10, like which I would class as like most probably my best season of football, just because scoring 10 goals in the Premier League is hard to do. My best years of football have always been wearing 20, and every time I've had an absolute torrid, I've worn 9. So yeah,
Amazing,
even when I played in the charity game the other day, they was like, "Do you want 9?" I was like, "No." There was like someone's got 20, and I actually wore 20.0 rather than
yeah. Did you score?
Yeah, I scored that trick. Set one up.
Hey, there you go. It works. It works.
It worked.
Right, one more question from me, mate. You mentioned the fee when you went to Norwich. What was it? 4 million quid. What is a 40 goal? What's a 40 goal in 2 seasons? Steve Morison worth in 2020?
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, good question.
I don't know, mate. Well, I think Ivanovic was getting touted around for double figures, wasn't he? Like last year,
17 million. I heard. Yeah,
Zion Fleming, stuff like that as well. Yeah, look, it'd be interesting. Like,
gotta be north of 20, isn't it, mate? Gotta be north of 20.
You like to be thinking you're getting. Well, if you're getting signed now for a promoted Prem team in the bottom half, yeah, you're getting that kind of dough. And you're mostly not even getting picked. They're taking someone from somewhere where we've never even heard of before.
They want about that. They want about that Vipotnik going for that sort of money. Steve Morison, Vipotnik. I know I'd rather have.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But yeah, we never know. I'm ashamed. We missed that money, unfortunately.
different years, sadly.
It was.
Morrow, there's a couple of questions from fans. I picked out a few here just for, if you don't mind. So Rob Morgan says, we had that one. Would you become a striker coach for the current Millwall team, Morrow? I think fans would love to see you back somehow in some capacity, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's not as, I think set piece coach, you can kind of see how that fits in, but as a striker coach for an individual, like I don't actually think I don't think I'd like it.
Have you ever had
a big enough role?
No, I just think I just wouldn't like it. I'd be like, it's all part of like being a manager and a coach, and it's their team, their players, and I think you have to be really careful when you're kind of trying to I'm just going to be delivering messages from what the manager wants. Anyway, I can't go out and go, oh, by the way, I'm going to do this. This is what we're going to do.
But when Adam Barrett was there, I'm sure he was like defensive coach, set piece coach. But I don't recall us ever having like a striker coach or attacking coach. I always thought that quite weird over the years. Yeah,
well, I think what what ends up happening is like when like Adam Barrett's doing that, what he's actually doing is he's just focusing in more on like the defensive side of the game from a tactical point of view. So he won't be looking at it. You won't be looking at any of the
individually.
Like yeah, it'll be more of like, right, where's our unit here in this situation? Yeah. Who's doing this? And it will just be feeding those little bits of information back to the manager. And then obviously set piece, we know, has come a big thing. Again, it just, as a manager and a coach, you have a hell of a lot to do. And yes, you can see real value in set piece coach and just kind of someone who's just like, you know what? Sometimes you get dragged in so many different ways as a manager and a coach, like, and then you're like, oh damn, we've got to do set plays. Do you know what I mean? And you've got someone just focusing on that, and someone you can just be go on. You've got half hour today. Go and do your set plays. Go and work through it. And Ads would have been great at stuff like that because obviously he has got a real defensive focus, and it was something he was really good at. And obviously Millwall haven't been bad at set plays, have they, over the years? True.
Good point. Question here from David Turner. So can you ask Steve how much he uses as manager that I think it's learned from Kenny, I think you're saying there. How much have you use from Kenny?
Yeah, obviously, like I spoke about, I said you don't really think about it consciously. You subconsciously think about it. You've done things. As I said, he was. Do you know what was really good about Kenny? I said I spoke to him mostly more when I finished playing than I did when I was playing, because he was always there at the end of the phone if you wanted to speak to him. And yeah, you get honesty from him, and he was a real like inspiration in I said in my career as a player, and I said as a coach. It's mostly not things consciously you think about, but subconsciously maybe things creep into your role.
I love that answer. We touched on one earlier. Can Morrow get hold of Miha and give him a Kenny style talking to? That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Joseph Collier said, would Morrow accept the coaching job at Millwall? Again, a lot of that mentioned that as well. Morrow's thoughts on Femi Aziz. Obviously, a lot of talk about him potentially moving this summer. We were talking 20 million plus potentially. You know, what's your thoughts on him as a player? And will that be the right move for us and for him? Do you think?
I just think it's progression, isn't it? It's obviously Millwall can reinvest again. Look, he's had a really good season, and he's been that player who can do something. I thought he was disappointing in the playoff games, actually.
Yeah, me too.
But look, it's just natural, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And if someone comes calling with the right amount of money, we know this in all walks of the game. Doesn't matter what level it is, everyone's got a price, haven't they? So
true.
Look, I think he will have ambitions to go and do it. I think if Millwall had got to the Premier League, maybe he'd have stayed.
Yeah.
But you also look at some other players that are out there playing in the Premier League for some of these teams, like who have just got promoted, stuff like that. I think he's as good, if not better, than some of them.
Good point.
So you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, nice one. It's one from one of our regular listeners, Anthony Smith. Said, Morrow Boy was mascot away to Borough January night 2019. You were amazing with him. You chatted to me, my wife, and my boy for a good 15 minutes by the tunnel. Took him to meet the players, etc. Legend. There you go, fans.
Hey, I'm not as bad as I thought I was.
I'm not as bad. He's not as bad as what you think he is. Exactly. We know that. We know that. Lewis said, ask Morrow, has he seen Joe?
Oh, no.
Not doing it.
I've scored one goal at the Den in the charity game, and it lives long in my memory. I could die happy now. I'm not going to put you through it. I'm not going to put you through it, but I've got the video here if you really want to see it.
We're all right.
He's not going to get his trainers back.
Okay.
I'll just leave.
Right, look, guys. Morrow, you've been an absolute legend. I knew you would be, and it's such a pleasure. We've watched your interviews with Chris. Previously done your in-depth interview. We love watching that, and we love seeing you tonight, on the chat, talk about your time with Kenny Jackett, of course, and sharing your moments with them, and also just sharing ask a few questions for the fans as well, which we really do appreciate. So thank you so much. We'd love to have you back on again one day whenever you're free, and we wish you obviously all the very, very best. And thank you again, mate. I really do appreciate it. Absolute legend. Thank you very much.
Have a good night. Top man.
Cheers,
Morrow. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Morrow. Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Steve.
Guys, what a legend, eh?
What
a legend.
I don't think we ruined his day either, did we? So
no, because his son has. He's trainers on.
Yeah,
he's going to get it now.
His son's going to get it now.
What a top bloke, though, eh? Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. And I do appreciate, obviously, he's very, very honest. And you would expect nothing less from Morrow, would you? As it is. And what a legend, and fans, a real treat for you guys there to have Morrow be very, very raw and honest and just tell you as it is. And what great stories with him and Kenny Jackett, eh?
Really, absolutely, really, really interesting on Mihalo, wasn't it? Really interesting. His view on him, in a couple of areas, and he weren't up for being a striker coach, was he? So should we not put that in the chat anymore?
No, I don't think he wants that. He doesn't want that role, does he? Let's be honest. And what's really interesting is that we always spoke about, could Morrow spend a bit of time with Mihailo and get out of him? And hearing what Morrow said there, a lot of it isn't mentally, is it? A lot of it is just his technique, physically making the right decisions in games, I do still think there's
I think it is mentally, Joe. He sort of said he needs to want it.
But not as much.
More technical.
Yeah. More technical.
Now, smug, I was sat here listening to Morrow say that about him and Kramer. So when I say it now, and I'm I'm so smug listening to Morrow talking about them.
Yeah. Well, basically, what you say,
good point, really good. I know you'll say, you've said it, but really good.
But what he said there was quite interesting because Kramer is a try-hard sort of player, very robust, works hard. Fans let you get away with that. If you make a couple of mistakes or make a bad pass, or whatever, you get away with it because you try hard. You put your your body on the line, didn't you? And
that doesn't cut it when you go up the levels, though, Joe. I think that's what Moro's saying. When you play for, don't do us any disservice. We finished third last year. When you play for better sides, you can't just be a workhorse. I struggle. I honestly, I've said it a lot. I struggle to see him playing in the Premier League. Certainly at right back, he's not good enough in a modern day wing back position to play in the Premier League. That's just my opinion. And obviously, Morris, therefore, I'm right. But you know,
That's one point, but the other counterpoint is that shows you how easy it is to please fans in a way, which pisses you off with some players when they don't put a shift in, they don't try and show you they're committed, etc., etc. We can be quite easily pleased. We're not stupid. You can be quite easily pleased by commitment, hard work, effort.
Everything. To your point, Disco, and I don't mean to throw this player under the bus, but you look at Tommy Watson, for example, last season. We had him on loan. He come off the bench. It's almost like jogging around, wasn't really putting it about, didn't really try hard. And technically, yes, you could argue he's probably one of the best players on the pitch. But if you don't have that desire and that want and that need and that, the fans are not going to give you second chances, are they? And there's a lot to be said for it, isn't it? And Morrow, I think he had it all. I think he was a very good player. I think he had the ability. I thought he worked hard. He won most headers, didn't he? Like, he was a nightmare for defenders, and he had the whole package, which made him such a great Millwall player, because he basically, everything about him was what we see in a Millwall player. And he had it in abundance, didn't he? And fair play. So hopefully we will see him back in some capacity. We'd love to get him back as a coach, but as he says, he doesn't want to be a striker coach. So
going back to the me a bit.
Get that one, Mill fans. Yeah.
So going back to the me a bit, it was interesting. I was going to ask him whether he thought, like most of us do, whether Mia would be better off in a partnership like he had with Greggs.
Yeah, great.
Very complimentary them two, but I couldn't.
Should we get him back on again?
Get him on. We'll ask him that. It would have been interesting to get his take to whether he thinks he would work next to Coburn rather than a lone striker.
Yeah, just want to say also a big special thank you to Phil Clark as well. So Phil, bless him, organised that for Morrow to come on and talk about Kenny Jackett and share that a good hour with us, which is amazing. So Phil, if you're watching, cheers, mate. Thank you so much. Really do enjoy that. And hopefully we'll get Morrow back on again. Look, I think that's 2 hours now, guys. I think we've got to wrap up. I was going to talk about England, but we could go on for another half hour, 40 minutes. So we'll probably set that for another time. But quick prediction, England versus Croatia. I don't know who wants to go first, Disco.
Oh, throw me under the bus there, Joe. I would love to say a cheeky 2-1 win. I suspect it will be a draw. Score draw.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. Guys, in the chat, what's your prediction? England versus Croatia tomorrow night. Put it in the chat. Let us know what your score prediction is. Ben, how about yourself?
2-0. 2-0 England.
Yeah. Goal scorers? Are we going goal scorers as well?
Harry Kane brace.
Harry Kane brace. Disco, what was your goal scorer? Sorry.
Straight in there. It's got to be Kane in it and Rodgers, I'd say, off the bench.
Yeah. Ed, how about yourself?
I would have gone 1-0, to be fair. 1-0. Take the win. Yeah, Kane.
Who's going to score?
Let's go Kane. Let's go
Harry Kane as well.
The Millwall connection.
Yeah, I've got a feeling we'll keep a clean sheet. I think defensively, I think that's what's going to get us fairly far in this World Cup. So I'm going for 2-0. I'm going to go for Harry Kane, and I'm going to go for Saka as well. Hopefully starts. Also, just very quick before we end off, Alex and FC made a good point. How about Max's performance this morning? So I think they drew 2-2, didn't they? I'll be honest with you, Alex, I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch any of the highlights either. So I don't know how well he played. I don't know if you guys saw it, did you? Perhaps you could tell us, Alex.
I'm not getting up at 2 a.m. for Iran, New Zealand, I'm afraid, as much as I actually don't mind Max Crocombe, but I ain't watching that. Sorry.
No, me neither. So, the fact he conceded 2 goals. I think he did save one with his face, didn't he? Someone said.
Yeah.
There's a picture online, isn't there, somewhere with that. So, Alex says that apparently he had a mad minute, but got away with it. That doesn't surprise me. Interesting one, guys. If you're still with us in the chat, and if you watch this back on recording, put.
Oh no,
it's gone again.
Sorry, if you're watching this as a recording as well, put it in the comments. But guys, right now in the chat, next season, we're hearing that Lucas Jensen is kind of fit and ready to go next season. See, Max is still on the books as well. So whether we go for another goalkeeper or not, we don't know. But if you were to pick between Jensen and Crocombe, who would you pick for? So go number 1 for Lucas Jensen, go number 2 for Max Crocombe, and in the chat, just put in there Max or Lucas in the comments if you're watching this back as a recording. Be interested to get your thoughts on it as well. Who would you guys go for out of curiosity? Disco?
The big unit, Lucas.
Yeah, big unit.
Well, they're both big units, to be fair, but yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, I'd have gone Jensen. Yeah, Jensen for me. Also, just quickly, Joe. You threw me a bit earlier because you initially Jensen Metcalfed him off when you first mentioned Jensen. So we need to make sure we're Jensens and Jensens.
That's right.
Yeah, Metcalf has been announced.
Yeah, official.
It's confirmed, is it?
Official, yeah.
So you're Jensen as well, are you, Ed? Okay, Ben, how about yourself?
Yeah, Jensen for me, mate. Not Metcalf. Lucas.
No.
The only quick minus against Lucas Jensen's name is last season, because where I sit at the back of block 5 is where they tend to put sort of friends and family and stuff of players, and Lucas quite often goes up there, especially last season, been injured, but his girlfriend or girlfriend, she sat in my seat and I was too polite to tell her to move. So
you stood up for the whole game?
Yeah, I just moved the long one seat, but I thought don't do that again. So that's minus points for
Didn't pull out you're in my seat.
Is she a looker? Yeah.
Right, guys, on that note,
yes.
Listen, thank you so much, boys, for being with us this evening. Thank you so much to you guys in the chat listening and watch us back as a recording. If you've got this far and you watch us back on recording, what do you put in the chat, guys, to let us know that you've got this far? You watched the whole 2 hours.
Is it something for Kenny or something for Morrow? What do you think? Something like that?
King Kenny.
Just put King Kenny. Yeah, put King Kenny, and we know you've watched the whole show.
On YouTube. On YouTube.
On YouTube. That's it. On YouTube. Exactly that. Final words, Ben, for yourself.
I've never been more convinced that we're winning the league based on us signing a League One centre midfielder. So, as Ed said earlier, mate, HMS Pistol League, all aboard.
There you go. Ed, how about yourself?
Yeah, no, on a sort of slightly more serious note, nice to talk about Kenny and listen to Morrow talk about his time. Just on the signings, obviously good to get an early signing through the door, but one swallow doesn't make a summer. So let's see what else.
Long way to go. Absolutely. Cheers for coming on, Ed, and thanks for making your live debut. Welcome to the Chat with Chats family.
Welcome.
Disco, your final words for yourself, mate, before we say goodbye to our lovely listeners.
Yeah, look, really enjoyed the show, Joe. Well done to you, mate. Hosted brilliantly as always. Genuinely, that was great. And look, having Steve on, what a guy. The comment says it all. And rest in peace, Kenny, and condolences to all his family. But look, the season's getting nearer. Fixtures are out next week, I think, aren't they? So
are they out next week? Are they?
It's starting. The train is starting to move out the station. So all aboard. Woo!
Brilliant, excellent. There you go, guys. So look, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Obviously, a huge thank you again to Steve Morison for joining us and sharing those wonderful memories of himself and obviously Kenny Jackett. Once again, our thoughts are with Kenny's families, friends, former players, colleagues, and everyone who knew him. Rest in peace, Kenny Jackett. Thank you for the memories. Once a lion, always a lion. That's it. All the best, guys, and we'll see you on next show. Take care. Bye for now.
Hi, it's Steve Morison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.